Panthers didn't get
The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Hello, this is Milton Baker inviting you to listen to NASCAR racing right here on WCSL 1590 AM, 92.3 FM, and KTCBroadcasting.com.
Man, I only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Shock Joxx episode 50. Hunter Yancey, Zac Mayhue's in the house. Hello, everybody. I'll wave at my camera.
Kevin, I'm going to be honest with you. Are you sure we're on episode 50?
Yeah.
100%. Because I have seen that we have back-to-back episode 47s.
Well, right.
So I'm just making sure. You sure we aren't on like 51?
I'm pretty positive.
You're positive.
So I've cross-posted. Check your Facebook and all that other stuff. What does it say on the Facebook? Go to the Facebook videos on KTC. Folks watching online, you can watch watch the show live on Facebook here. Hello to Gene Boyles, logged in early in here in the show.
Hey, Gene, how's it going, man?
Looking at some of our stuff here.
I am going to scroll back through because I was highly concerned.
Trust me.
Well, I mean, well,
if we
there's Saturday. I'm going back. All right, so Wednesday.
One is mislabeled. The one that should be 48, then 49.
Okay.
Then today's
so
50.
If that's
there's no 48 on the list.
Okay, so there's 40. Yeah.
You mean edit that while I got it up?
No. Don't
I can
worry
do
about
it. It's gonna take like 7
no,
seconds.
No, don't worry about it. We're fine. We're fine. That means we did it live. So yes. So if this was 48. If 48 was technically supposed to be the interview with Jesse,
right?
Today is, I think today's 51.
Right. No,
so
50, Hunter.
No, because
there was no. Go look.
Today's Wednesday. I thought it was Monday.
Today's 50.
Today is 50. You're
all
right.
Look,
you're right.
So now we got 47.
I was an extra episode ahead.
49. Listen, I've got the counting thing going. I've got a 8 and a 5-year-old, so I can count to 50.
Listen, that's fine.
I just can't label them right, maybe.
My days are still running together the longer I have to be in my room staring at a wall. So they are just running continuous at this point. Well, and this is what makes it worse, too. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, I'm in a different class now for these next few weeks. I have my 2 different classes, but they're both the same class, just the one on Tuesdays and Thursdays are the lab. So, it's like I have the same
So you got
class
the
every
same
day.
class
Same
every day.
class every day. I see the same wall every day, the same people every day. It's all one long day at this point.
Listen,
With small breaks at night.
you've got to wear like different masks or do something.
Gotta do
put
something.
something in the background.
I gotta do
like
something.
A dog just sitting there, fish, something.
Well, my dog was in there with me today while I was on the call, and he was asleep, and I unmuted myself because I was getting ready to speak, and it was the worst moment ever because he lets out the long, and it's not what you think, he just snores,
Right.
and it's like,
Nah.
and everybody is like, what the hell is that? And I was like, sorry guys, I got like a puppy with me, and he's sleeping right now, so don't worry about it. They were like, "I thought that was your stomach." I was like, "No."
What's the name of the dog and what kind is it?
His name is Roscoe, and he is a Boston Terrier.
Mm-hmm.
My
Okay.
little buddy.
A Boston Terrier.
Boston Terrier.
What does he terrorize? What are they? What were they bred? What were they bred for? Rats? Did you ever look it up?
I know the Terrier breed. Obviously, we're not like a dog podcast, but I do know my grandfather loves like hunting dogs. But the Terrier breed is they were more for rats. I've had bulldogs or the bully breed a lot, and I know bulldogs were the name itself. They were bred to help take down bulls. That's why they have close snouts. It's so that they could get in and lock their jaw when they got a hold of their legs. And so Terrier, like I guess he's meant for rats. Let me tell you something. They said, what does he terrorize? He terrorizes my sister's dog. He terrorizes the other dog. He terrorizes bugs. That's about it. I mean, he is. There's nothing scary about this Terrier. Nothing.
Okay. Well, I just want. So did you show him off to your friends?
I did not. I did not. I did not have my webcam plugged in today because I just wanted to do class from my bed, and that's exactly.
I was
what
trying.
I did.
I've been trying to talk my son into wearing because he's got he's hopefully I don't know your life, Hunter, but he's got more masks than maybe you do.
Yeah.
He's got.
Yeah, I think he does.
He's got Batman.
Yeah.
We do got the wrestling mask in house. We can put those on if we want to.
I can't wear my masks on air.
That's what I was. That's what I don't know what kind of mask you have. So we've got Vader, Kylo Ren. He's got a couple different Batmans.
Is he doing
He's
like
got
online classes or something?
Bumblebee, yeah.
Okay.
So I've been telling him, I was like, just wear one different one every day.
Yeah.
Just
Have
for
fun with it.
Jeez.
Have fun with it. I wish that what we did though, because apparently like the Zoom is kind of like open for anybody to join. Ours is just Microsoft Teams, so you have to be added to the group for you to even have access to it. But I was wishing it was kind of like Zoom, so one day we might randomly get like Peyton Manning to join or something, and just sitting there acting like nothing's happening, and all of a sudden Peyton Manning pops up and just be like, "I know you." The rest of the guys in my class might not know who it is, because like I said, I'm in IT school and not many of them are very sports related. Some of them are though. And if you're watching, I really appreciate that you're watching. But I think that'd be fun. I think that's kind of funny. Like when they have those.
You
those
see nothing
moments.
but his forehead.
Yeah, you would
Just see.
You
It
could
looked like Mr. Peanut.
Yeah, you couldn't miss Peyton. He looks like Mr. Peanut. Oh, that's what they should do. Because you remember it was the Super Bowl ad. It was either the Super Bowl ad or it was leading up to the Super Bowl where they killed off Mr. Peanut, and then they brought Baby Nut.
They killed him before the Super Bowl.
They killed him
and
before.
They brought him back.
And they brought him back as a Baby Nut for the Super Bowl. What they should have done was killed off that Mr. Peanut and brought back Peyton Peanut. Peyton Peanut, and just this big ass forehead right there and his face on the peanut. That would have been fantastic because they use him for commercials and for Super Bowl all the time. What was it? He was the Tide spokesperson this year or something. Like every commercial was like, yeah, and you should do this, but not during this because this show is on. Do your laundry because later. And it's like, I think that would have been funny. I think it would have been pretty funny.
Zach, of course, you're not here on Mondays. We touched a little bit on the Jordan documentary. I want to touch on that a little bit. What your thoughts on this week and
I do
and
like this
everything
setup. I do like this.
from the show. You like the verticals?
I do like the new layout. You like the new layout?
Yeah.
Well, you can't run away from
Looks
the camera.
good.
Don't be Tom and run away from the camera. Embrace it.
I've got to work on the color. But anyway, Jordan, did you watch this week's
I did.
shows? Okay, I want to make sure before I ask
Oh,
you
yeah, I
anything
wouldn't miss that.
specific. This week's shows covering baseball. What was it this week? Baseball Space Jam? That was last week.
That was this week.
This was this week.
This week was
Yeah,
Space Jam.
Gary
First
Payton.
baseball.
First retirement. coming back.
Hornets.
Facing the Hornets.
Supersonics.
Sonics. We need them back. We need them back.
Immediate thoughts on the show. I'm going to go check
I liked
some stuff.
being a Hornets fan. That was in our good basketball playing days. Even though
let me ask you this. Now I'm
go
going
ahead.
to let you finish. I made this comment Monday, and you could probably agree with it. I said that's the most media coverage on ESPN the Hornets have gotten maybe in the last 10 to 15 years.
I mean, we had for a good while there, we had some teams that were good. I was a huge Glenn Rice fan. I hated we traded Alonzo for him because I like Alonzo, but we had a good team that year. I was surprised that BJ said that they were completely out of their league. I thought we had a good team, and I thought it showed up when we tied the series up 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
BJ just did the wrong thing.
Pissed Michael
Yes,
off.
what he did. And after that, I can remember because I wasn't that old. I believe that was 97. I might be wrong. That was 96. That was their best team.
Mm-hmm.
It was 96. So I was 18. I was graduating high school. I can remember watching us win that game and thinking in my head, we're coming home. We're coming home. We can go up 2-1. And he destroyed us the next game. Me not knowing that the in-depth thing about Michael being that way, I didn't know the ramifications, what BJ did was going to be that bad for us. So I liked that. I really liked I didn't believe Michael on one thing. His assessment, him laughing at Gary Payton, saying that he was guarding. Payton did a real good job on him that game.
But Michael's not going to admit that.
No, he was not. And him laughing about that whole deal.
He said the glove. I didn't have no problem with the glove.
I didn't agree with him on that. I was talking to Kevin about the Hornets, how I thought we had a good team. BJ making Jordan mad. And then I can remember being in that situation and going home 1-1, thinking we were coming home, and then we just got killed the next game. I think we lost by about 20. And then I told him I didn't believe Michael on his assessment of Gary Payton when he was laughing at the video that Gary said. I thought when they finally put Gary Payton on him that worked. And if they would have done that from the beginning, it might have been a little bit different series. I don't think they would have beat them, but Jordan laughed at that. Gary Payton was an awesome defender and definitely up for the challenge. So I think Kevin's a Gary Payton fan. I definitely am too.
Yeah, I mean, I like Gary Payton. As far as Jordan saying he didn't have a problem, I can see what he meant by it. He's taller than him.
Yeah, because Payton's what, 6'3", maybe.
Yeah, so he's not 6'6", and
he looks smaller than I think he really is. Like on the court, I think you met him.
But yeah, I mean, he's taller. He's tall. He's a good tall 6'3". It's just
he just looks smaller on the court compared to.
He wasn't afraid of Clyde Drexler, and he's 6'7".
Yeah,
he wasn't scared of anyone. So no matter who you ask him about that,
you want to talk about somebody that came on there and was just raw. Gary Payton just gave it to you raw. As soon as he got on there and started sitting it, when he got to the point talking about how he basically told George Karl, he said, "Fuck that, I'm going to be guarding Michael." I was like, "All right, this man's just stole the show right now."
But the
he's
thing,
just being honest about
whether or not Gary could shut him down, he was going to do better than damn Hersey Hawkins was going to do. And that's the issue.
Forgot about that. They did have Hersey.
Right. That's the you've got to put your best defender on him no matter what. He's their score. He's the head of the snake. He's their leading scorer. Everything goes through him.
Yeah, because Chicago's going to put their best defender on your best scorer. Why would you not answer that?
Right.
I did like them showing some of the All-Star stuff. I think they did. Was that this week where they showed him playing in an All-Star game a little bit with Kobe, or was that last week?
That was the week before.
Before. Did like some of that. But
I'm sad we got only one Sunday left. That's it. This Sunday
I know.
is
I
the
told
last Sunday.
my wife has watched it as much as I do, and she was from right outside Chicago. She's a huge Bulls fan, and her favorite player of all time is B.J. Armstrong. Go figure that. So she thought it was great watching him the other day.
You need to get her a B.J. Armstrong Hornets jersey.
Yeah, when we went down there, he was sitting on the bench. I'll never forget it. She said, "Go, BJ." I said, "He's on the bench, honey." But good documentary. There was one part of it. Did y'all mention where Jordan really got upset and he says no more comments? It was about
at the end when he was talking about how
if you don't like the way that I did things,
you don't have to do it. He said, if you don't want to play that way, you don't have to play that way.
But he was really emotional about it. Did y'all notice? That part of it. Want to think in your mind like, what's he thinking?
All right. So basically, what where that comes from, and what I'm seeing and told from Skip and everyone else, and Colin and everybody else is, and from the old stories is he didn't want people to think he was just
a tyrant,
jerk
maybe,
or asshole, because you can but today's society's totally different. Like Andre hasn't watched any of it, and so I said they're calling Jordan a bully now, and his response was, "So." There's a different people can be the snowflakes they want and say he was bullying them or stuff, but I've played basketball. The best person on the team, it's at the end of the day everyone looks at them like, did y'all win because of you, and that person is usually always kind of in that way, and you're never going to see Jordan on a banana boat with the other guys, with Stockton and Malone.
No.
Right? So
we got to remember, even Rodman said in one of the episodes with Rodman, he said,
Rodman didn't even talk to him, first of all.
No, I'm just saying, but Rodman said, off the court, me, Michael, and Scotty, we never hung out. He said, we didn't hang out. He said, but it was just at practice or on the court.
They didn't even talk. Like they did not. Rodman didn't want to talk to him because if he talked to him, he'd mess something up. And he just did his job. And so so Zach, what you were asking is that he was worried. The big worry about this documentary is that he would come out looking that way in a certain type of way. So I think what that was him just saying he just wanted to win so bad that he wasn't thinking. And I can see he wasn't think about how he relates and was to everyone else, other than his teammates and the guys on the court between the rectangle of the court. Who else was he a jerk to? Have you ever seen it in our lives anybody else come out and say, yeah, that Michael Jordan, he's a jerk? And nobody ever has that wasn't related in that way, a competitor with him or on the court at some point. And I think that's from his standpoint is what he was kind of saying. And I think he got a little upset on that that was the point where like he just wanted to win. And then I watched an interview afterwards of his trainer Tim Grover. And they were asking him about him getting emotional as well. He got emotional a little bit too.
He did.
And that's what he was talking about. Is like when you want something and do something so bad, then it can and will get emotional.
And then one thing else I was talking about the baseball deal, and his dad's desire for what Michael would do. He loved his dad so much that made it so much easier for him to try baseball.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he had so much going on with all the scandal that was coming up that they were just running through the mud with about the gambling and his dad dying. And was it because of all that? He's like, I don't need this. I just won 3 championships. And I can see his mindset. I don't need this. I won 3 championships. Bird didn't do it. Magic didn't do it.
Did you notice real quick that after the 3 championships, they were or on his way to the 3rd in those documentaries back then, that they were already calling him the best player ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was before
the other 3.
He came back and won 3 more and had the best record of all time.
Yeah.
Now,
so
that's what they were saying.
If you're saying that at 3,
that's what they were saying.
What happens at 6?
Now
Reinsdorf said that during their interview, or his retirement interview. The first time he said, it's upsetting that the greatest player to ever put on a pair of basketball shoes is, retiring. Or he didn't even say the greatest player. He said the greatest athlete. He just basically held Jordan to such a pantheon. And one of the things that goes to, him saying how bad he wanted it, how bad he really wanted to win, I thought the best quote of the night from Jordan was when he basically sat there, and it was one that they had played during a bunch of his promotionals. He looked at the camera and he said, look, my mentality was to win at any cost. That's what he meant. And essentially what he meant by that was, look, if that means I got to piss you off and we're not really friends after this, it don't matter, because my mentality is I'm going to win. Well, I'm going to do anything I can to win.
Yeah, he wasn't there to be your friend.
And 2 things that I noticed that came up that I liked was, the 2 things that stand out to me was his third. I think it was his 3rd game back from retirement. He put 55 on the Knicks. Right. Well, I thought that was awesome there. But the second thing, try not to lose my train of thought. Oh, it was the Magic playoff series. He was still 45. And it was the guard for
Nick Anderson.
He says 45, not 23 or something, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. He came back and he was 23 for that game. He just wasn't in shape. And I think they said that was probably the best thing for them, because that drove him to get his body back right, and then push them to get those next
Well,
three.
It's a different body.
Yeah.
With the baseball.
Yeah,
He
I kind of don't know.
Scored 55 with a baseball body.
I don't
on
know
the Knicks.
I still don't know the ins and outs of the difference really.
Well, breathing.
Think so.
I mean,
His body, he didn't look structurally different.
have you ever watched a basketball game where Jordan wasn't sweating like crazy?
Yeah. Now I did notice.
So how many baseball games do you have to sweating like that?
Right.
How many days is he putting that much sweat? And it's breathing. It's in baseball. In baseball, you walk everywhere almost. You jog to the outfield. You stand there and wait for a ball to be hit, and then you run fast for 100 feet, maybe 50 feet, 60 feet, and you're not running that. And then you walk back to your spot. It's not even close to running in basketball. So in baseball, you want to build your lower body because all your strength and everything is there. And so you're putting muscle in your lower body as opposed to running.
More cardio versus the weight side of it.
Yeah, he's putting way more weight in training into baseball as opposed to basketball.
And I did notice when he did that Knicks game it wasn't the Knicks game. His first game back. That they had to go to the Pacers. First game back came to the Pacers, and they was in announcements that he was pouring sweat. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
So Grover, that interview I was watching, he also mentioned that he had to about those workouts. He was talking about he had to discuss with Michael, and I think Tom asked this one day about basketball workout, affecting her shot. You remember me talking about affecting her shot in weightlifting one day? Well, Grover said that it does affect her shot, obviously. So he did studies and was working with guys and everything, and so he would present Michael as, if we do this lift today, on tomorrow, this is how you're going to feel, and this is how it would affect your shot. So he was actually practicing his shots based on what his trainer was telling him his body is going to do based on the weights he lifted the day before. So that's how intense and in depth that those workouts were actually involved, is that if I'm going to do shoulders today, it's going to affect my shot in this way. Maybe I need to do this or do that or do something different. And I think that is just outstanding on Grover's part to do that. He also talked about structuring workouts for someone who smokes cigars.
Yeah.
He said he looked.
I don't think I remember that part. Or was it something else?
This is the day after interview, and he was
talking about this with Colin.
Yeah, and he was talking about how he even looked up different types of cigars, how they would affect your body in different ways, and when the best time to work out and when to smoke cigars was. So that's how in depth Michael's cigar smoking went. Is that Jordan told him that he didn't want to.
In that interview, basically said, he was like, "Look, we were doing sleep studies before they were doing sleep studies because Michael wouldn't want to work out and just be going all day, and he might only sleep 4 hours." And this was definitely during while he was shooting Space Jam. They were shooting. He would get up. He said he had like a 6 a.m. call time. Then he would go and work out, and then they would play pickup after that. And he said eventually I'd have to look at Michael and just be like, "So when can we squeeze like a 25-minute nap in? Just something." And he was like, "So I was doing like sleep study, reading." He said we didn't have the internet, so I was reading, in books, just trying to figure it out. He said, he said we basically innovated it. And he said we innovated sleep study with Michael.
Grover told Michael that, or Michael told Grover that he needed to, not to worry about what he basically does, not in his gym. So I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be me. Your job is to get me in shape to do those things. And that's what Grover said he did, which then. It's good on Grover.
You got the other thing I know that you probably enjoyed really much was the Space Jam side story.
Yeah, we didn't lose to the aliens.
No, and I did.
We're still here.
I liked Reggie's comment on that he was like, I can't remember the exact word he said, superhuman or something. He was going down here and he's taping all day and he's playing these pickup games. But Jordan was doing that not for their, he hadn't played with them in year and a half.
Yeah.
And he was seeing their tendencies. He's
and one
smart.
thing that he said is he was really inviting younger talent.
Yeah. He wanted to see how they play.
The younger guys. You didn't see many shots of magic, some of the older guys out there playing. It was
you
the
or
young
him
and up and comers. Antoine Jameson was out there.
They didn't have the internet. Like we can pull up anything.
Right.
They'd have to have tape. I mean, he's a pretty smart fella.
So the Space Jam, of course, featured 2 Charlotte Hornets.
That's right.
Muggsy Bogues, and Grandmama Larry Johnson himself. They should have done some type of skit or something with the Grandmama stuff, but they didn't because he's a Converse guy. So isn't it weird that they had different guys from different shoe brands? Like LeBron, I'm guessing. I don't know the list. Are they all Nike people? Do you know, Hunter? Have you seen the list of the?
The only one I know that
exactly
was the only one I know that was confirmed for that was Anthony Davis, and he's Nike.
Magic was a Converse.
Yeah. I mean, so you had Sean Bradley. Who knew? I don't even have any idea what Sean Bradley was, but it was. But Sean Bradley was out there. Barkley was in it, wasn't he?
I was going to say, I think Charles was in it.
He's a Nike guy. And
yeah, definitely about Nike.
The dog was named Charles Barkley. Did you see it in Space
Charles
Jam?
Barkley.
I didn't notice that.
His bulldog's name is Charles Barkley in Space Jam.
Wow.
He had I think what was funny is the story about his shorts. The dog's taking the shorts in the Space Jam and needed his lucky shorts. I thought that was a very interesting take because that was a long story before that ever happened. Is that he wore his Carolina practice shorts
under everything
under his bull stuff, and then
that
in
was
Space Jam the dog they went back. Yeah. Bugs and him had to go back and get the shorts. And the dog caught
that was
him.
one of the reasons. That's what they say was one of the reasons Jordan brought the baggy. Started the longer baggy shorts because he could hide his Carolina shorts.
Well, Stockton never got on that trip.
Stockton was wearing tidy whities. How much you want to bet on that? I would bet every bit of it. Stockton had them things hiked up his butt there. So they talked. So Space Jam, and then he came back. So we had baseball, Zach, and Terry Francona said he could. Maybe 1,500 at bats would probably make the major leagues even. About 200. He started with a 13-game hit streak.
You talking about
Jordan?
Yes.
13-game hit. The 13-game hit streak is what is just outstanding. That his biggest detriment I thought was his height more than anything. It's tough and it's awkward to be, 6'6", not just be a big power hitter in his body like.
Can you imagine the size of the glove that he was wearing?
Yeah, I mean,
the fielding glove.
He's 6'6".
His hands are huge.
He's and he's only 200 pounds, 205. It's not like he's 6'6", 240 or something. That's what most. I don't know how many pounds does Aaron Judge weigh? I'm sure it's more than 205
Judge is
pounds.
like what 6'7". He's probably 240.
I mean, it's not.
He's thick, man.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He is very big.
So how many contact 6'6" hitters you
don't see? You see him all about. You see him all about Altuve's height if you want him just being contact hitters.
Judge, to give you an example, is 6'7", 280, Zach. So there's your difference between you.
I was 80 pounds off.
That's Zion Williamson.
I mean, that's the difference between your baseball.
That really is.
It's his exact.
That's about his exact measurements. I think Zion's 6'6", 290, almost 300. He's like the second heaviest in the NBA right now.
He's gonna get shorter and shorter as the time goes on.
He's gonna start and just get fatter.
He's listed at 6'6", 280.
Zion.
So Zion's had 80 more pounds on Jordan, basically.
Zion is one bad weekend away down in New Orleans from being overweight.
And I don't know if we said it on here or not, but they said Jordan did a 40. Maybe Roy said that. He did a 40-yard dash.
Roy said that him
4.39.
I think he said him and Guthridge both timed him. And they both looked at each other and Roy made sure he was like, we're not professional timers, but we both looked at our clocks and said, "What'd you get?" And said, Guthridge looked back at him and said, "Well, what did you get?" He said, "I got sub 4.4."
Zach.
Yep.
He had what did you say? 30 stolen bases.
Yeah, he had like 30.
Yeah,
30
he
stolen
had a ton of stolen bases in AA.
In AA too. Well, so Zach will remember as far as Jordan. The younger years, the athlete that he was before the 90s athlete, the 90s basketball player was perfection. The 80s athlete was just let's say there was no basketball. Jordan would have been in the Olympics at something, don't you think? High jump, long jump, triple jump, something. That young Jordan, that athlete that he was at that point would have been in some type of something. Yeah. I don't know what, but I mean, there was no basketball.
And you can look at it for the people that never got to watch it. You can get the games, and if you play the games, the video games, that 85 to 90 Jordan is just so athletic, and you get into the Jordan that's got a little bit more skill to his in the games you can see that, and I think that's what you're referencing.
Yeah, the early years is I'm going to out-athlete everyone.
And it's basically the thing
most young guys in their 20s.
Yeah.
And then you hit 26, 27, 28, you start slowing down, you're like, I better hit a jump shot.
Yeah, I got to learn, fade away, where he put the fade away in. And this is all, what you're talking about, it's all the Jordan with hair. Mm-hmm. Once he went no hair, he started to transition.
With Jordan with hair, I think could have won the high jump. I mean, I really do. Just the way he got up, he could have easily learned to flip over backwards. And
and they even talked about it, on some of the not the last dance, but they've talked about how he just could get up in the air and it's like he stayed there. It was ridiculous.
It was the floating. You'd foul, and you would hit the ground, and he'd still be in the air. You're like,
just like, how did you doing that?
He's not human.
Yeah.
Remember. He's God disguised as Michael Jordan. Famous quote from Larry Bird.
A couple of other things to get into and talk about since we've seen Zach. We've had some NASCAR racing, and it's coming back this week. We've got so they went up to North Wilkesboro last weekend in the iRacing.
Yeah.
Did you ever go up there?
I've never been to North Wilkesboro. I would love to. Me and my father-in-law actually just talked about it.
For a race, Daddy? No. Well, he drove by it. Well, we've all drove by it. So, that Junior and them cleared off the track and they brought it back and they raced on it. The Hendricks guys didn't race. Gordon did race. The last guy that won it. He did fairly well. Got caught up in a couple of wrecks. When the guys wreck on the iRacing, Hunter, you kind of just really don't know where the cars are going to go. A lot of times, if you're in real life and you start spinning, you're saving the car and not hitting anyone else.
Right.
I think the guys in iRacing, if they feel like they're going to wreck, they're going to take somebody else out with them sometimes and end up causing a wreck in the field. But Gordon got caught up there in the middle most of the time. He raced good. Earnhardt was running second to fifth for the most of the part of the race, and then he got caught up in a little action there late and ended up moving back and couldn't get back up to the front. And Denny Hamlin ended up winning on a bump and run against I think it was I can see this car right now. Ross Chastain. So he bumped him and got around him. And Chastain wrecked him in the victory lap. I don't know if you anybody saw that, but Hamlin's driving around on the video game, Hunter, in the victory lap, and here comes Chastain and hammers him cold trickle style from Days of Thunder. And took him out.
I thought
and Hamlin just spun around and then just went and started doing doing a burnout.
I thought they were doing live this weekend.
They are this weekend.
Weekend, because I went to look at it Sunday, and I'm like, where's the race at?
No, it's this weekend, the 17th.
Okay.
In Darlington.
I thought that was this past weekend. I was like, I told Mandy, I said, something ain't right. The race ain't up.
So what's cool about Darlington, Hunter, is this is where they do some of the throwback schemes. So not only is our first race in Darlington, we're getting throwback race schemes for this. So here I'm going to pull up some of the paint schemes in just a second. I wanted to go over exactly how they're going to do the starting lineup. So 1 through 12 will be determined by a random draw from the charter teams in those positions and team owner points. Positions 13 through 24 will be a random draw among charter teams in those position points, and the same. So basically, if you're in the top 12 in owners points, they're going to random draw for positions in every 12 spots. Is how they're going to do that. Starting lineup for the Cup Series event scheduled May 20th at Darlington will use the finishing order from May 17th as the basis for the lineup with one inversion. Starting positions 1 through 20. The top 20 finishers from May 17th will be inverted for the start of the 20th race. Starting 21 through 20, the bottom 20 finishers will start their finishing positions for the start of the May 20th race. Any other new entries could be placed at the tail end of the field. With that said, will there be any shenanigans there, Zach, fighting for that 21st spot instead of the 20th? So you think about it. If you're 20th, if you finish 20th at Darlington,
right,
the first race, you start 40th. If you finish 21st, you start on the pole. Whoever's riding in 20th, Hunter, would you break?
No.
Even if you don't get to pole, would you not break and then end up at 23rd, 20, just somewhere, just slow down? Yes. I got a tire.
Yes, because you don't want to be 40th.
Like that's a huge difference. And that's kind of a random. I don't know if anybody's thought about that yet, but whoever's in 20th, the bottom 20 will be they're going to invert. So whoever's in 20th,
yeah, it's gonna be a mess.
They should do some type of draw even after that. I believe
they could. they could do the. I know it's putting a lot of thinking into some of this stuff, but I was thinking like they do for lottery basketball, the lottery, the draft lottery.
Yeah,
like
that's
give
what
you
they're
more,
going to do.
give
for
you
the
more
first.
ball. It's what it sounded like. Give you more balls.
Well, what they're doing,
and that's basically the points for the
top
honor.
12.
Yeah,
They're doing random draws for every
Yeah.
12 drivers.
Yeah.
And then redoing that. But to say if you're 20th, you start 40th, and you're 21st, you're on the pole. That's a big difference. I don't understand. If I'm running 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th there, hey guys, let's go in the pits.
What's what everybody stops before they get to the finish line, and just looks at each other.
let's pit a lap early, or something like that.
Let's just wreck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. NASCAR will figure it out. I'm sure.
Yeah.
They'll do something, and I'm sure some guy, some country boy somewhere has already told them, hey boys,
That's not too smart.
all right, here's the pit road. Some modifications. Pit selection for Charlotte events will be determined by May 24th, or on May 24th by qualifying, and then 27th by results of the 600. All three NASCAR series will have modified competition caution in the early portions of each race. Stoppages includes freezing the field to accommodate longer pit stops, allowing teams to make an extended race adjustment since they don't have practice. So basically, they're going to have a required pit. It's going to be longer than a normal pit, 30 seconds maybe, or something like that, maybe a minute, and then you're going to start back in the same spot that the field was frozen in, so you can't pass someone
On pit road
on pit road. Hunter, are we having internet issues? We're recording right now, so we're okay. We'll get it all up on the YouTube. The internet in this building is just weird. All right, so there will be no wave around rule in effect for the competition caution. Granting a free pass for the first car one lap down. Pit road opens to the top 20, and then the next 20 on the following lap. Each car will keep its position at the top of the caution, provided it beats the pace car off pit road. The pit cycle repeats with the top 20, then the next 20. So let the guys figure that out, basically. The lineup will be reset according to the frozen order from restart. So it's 17th in the Cup Series, the 19th Xfinity, and the 20th Cup Series in Darlington. Then in Charlotte, we get the 24th Cup Series, 25th Xfinity, 26th Truck Series, and 27th Cup Series. So it'll be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday racing. No Saturday racing. I guess they're going to use those for travel. I'm not sure the exact reason for that. Why wouldn't they just why wouldn't they keep the regular Friday Saturday truck schedule or whatever? But go ahead.
I think some of this stuff that they're trying, and I think we might have talked about this last week, whether it's baseball, football, NASCAR, some of this stuff might take and stay on. Like, some of this new stuff they're trying, how they're doing all the races together, or even this regional stuff with baseball.
The baseball. So we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get. I want to roll through our some of our paint schemes here real quick. Click on my internet tab while you got a hold of that real quick, so I can scroll the internet Kevin right below that. Will be fine. So me and Zach are going to roll through some paint schemes here. Zach, this is of course one of my favorites of all time.
The original Petty
is the STP.
Yep, 43.
Richard Petty. So
I'm sure they'll have the good wrench out there too. I would hope.
This is Quinn Hoff, whatever that is. Monster.
Mm-hmm.
I got a fun thing. I got to give Zach about that that Monster logo. Discount Tire there for Brad Keselowski. There's a Busch Light Mobile, and somebody's face is gonna be there on Kevin Harvick's left rear fender. I don't know how else to word that. I guess I said that right. No, that was not any type of innuendo or anything. He's actually gonna have pictures there on his car. Hunter, is this? Do we need to call? Who is it? The Time Warner, whoever's running our internet. Yeah. All right. So we also got Ryan Newman.
Is that Oscar Mayer?
That's
I can't
Oscar
see.
Mayer winter fire car.
That's awesome.
They don't got no. There should be a hot dog.
It should be.
Why? No. What it should be is the side should be the bun, and then have a big hot dog winnie going right down the middle.
Oh.
This is the 10-car Almirola. Nothing special there. Denny Hamlin.
That's old
in the
Denny Hamlin. I
FedEx.
like that one.
That's what he won in North Wilkesboro this past
Bernard's
weekend.
car.
Clint Boyer, awful fun to listen to him do these iRacings while he's talking, while he's driving and stuff. He's pretty funny. Him and Gordon going back and forth Sunday was pretty good. Boyer had a good run there later. I think he had a chance to win, and then he got caught up with some stuff as well. About everybody got caught up with something at some point.
There's the old Bash Pro, wasn't it?
Of course,
Martin Truex.
21's always going to give you the red and white. Set up the Pennzoil from Joey Logano.
Yeah, I like that car. I don't like Joey Logano, but
no fan of Logano. Huh? Kenseth returns. This is going to be his paint scheme, guys.
I don't like that.
In the credit one.
What
What
get the DeWalt car
number's
out.
Newman? Did I just scroll by him? He used to be 39. John Hunter Nemechek. That's what's funny about him is in the iRacing, he wrecks all the time. And so I brought my kids out to watch the last race. This is at North Wilkesboro there. I had them out to watch the race with me, and Nemechek was in front of Gordon at one point, and I told Hunter, I told my son, I was like, well, watch out, there's a chance Gordon might wreck here because he's around Nemechek and he's a little crazy, and by God, it wasn't 2 laps after that he hit somebody else and wrecked somebody else, and Gordon slipped through. And I said, I told you. And then watching it on the show, Gordon, it was a few laps later or something like that, and he said, no, it was Earnhardt. I watched the day after his feed, and while he was talking about it, and Nemechek got in front of Earnhardt, and he was behind him. He's like, oh God, John Hunter's behind me. I don't know what's about to happen here, boys. He said, we've had a good run so far. If we get wrecked here,
It's a known thing.
They knew he was coming, and something was about to happen. And he's in the Skag. He's got tiger stripes on his car this week in the Ford 38 car. But yeah, even Earnhardt was mentioning on I just started laughing on that one. He started
Ryan Newman's number 6.
Okay, let me get back up to 6. That is him in the hot dog car then, Zach. Ryan Newman is in the Oscar Mayer mobile this week. Do you think they did an injustice putting Ryan Newman in a car with flames all over it in his first race back?
That's horrible.
Hunter.
It's got to be some PR to that or something. You know,
He's got flames on his car. Like, who did that?
It's horrible, man.
What dummy did that?
Yeah.
There's the Oscar Mayer Flames car for Ryan Newman. Jeez. All right, let's see. Let me get back to where was that? 43. There's the. We're gonna go full screen on Bubba Wallace's. I guess we could have done this on everybody. I wonder if we could have. That'd have been nice. Maybe we can. We can. Now, Hunter, you might have to go back in there to get it live on the Facebook and restart it on that one. If you're streaming here and it's saying it is, that's probably what might be going on. I'm not sure. May have to refresh. All right, Zach, I've got the playlist. The car's up and going here now on this playlist. Let's get everybody where they can see it good. So there's Stenhouse, Nature Valley Healthy Choice car. You want to get a Swamp Rabbit?
Yeah,
you know what a Swamp Rabbit is?
I have no clue.
I don't either. I was hoping you did. It's the Swamp Rabbit 77 car. Trying to read his name. I couldn't read his name. Obviously don't know who that one is. Sorry for whoever 77 is in the Swamp Rabbit. You got a cool car name. But there's some of the paint schemes for coming up this weekend. In Darlington, of course, will be in Charlotte. All of those on WCSL 1590 AM, 92.3 FM on KTC Broadcasting.com. All right, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from the NASCAR. There's a story on ESPN today. I'm showing everyone right now about Cam Newton.
Yeah. And
how come
nobody signed him?
No one has signed him. What's going on? There's speculation the Seahawks are interested. And, former coach didn't even sign him. He traded for his backup. I mean, it's not like he signed someone else in the league. It's not like he signed Teddy Jameis Winston or another quarterback, he signed Cam Newton's backup.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to just going down here what it is. You know, you got bad timing with the virus. You've got his injury. You got the contract, and all that. What do you think right now? Do you see anywhere would be a good spot for him? He wants to be a starter, not a backup. That a team should say, you know what, we should give him a run.
Two things I think. Number one, this shows everybody knows I'm a Panther fan, and I'm not a big Cam fan. So I wasn't upset that he's gone. A lot of people were. Now that you're seeing that nobody's picked him up, do y'all understand why he's gone? That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing on him getting a job is this. I think the best position for him would be to not go as a backup right now. This is my opinion. And wait to see somebody gets hurt during the season where he could go in after they open up. If he's healthy, they can give him some kind of a physical, and they can see what he's all about. In that article, it actually brought up that if he would have come out in 2015 after that MVP season, he'd been getting like major money. But he's deteriorated on 2 shoulder surgeries and a foot surgery, and he didn't throw the ball well in the first place. And his biggest thing that he brought to the table was his running, and they don't know what that's about right now because he had that foot injury last year. In that, if shoulder and foot, nobody's going to go out there and just say, hey, we're going to give you the keys to the franchise. So it might be
Hit
something.
The go live button.
It might be something where
in the corner.
He has to wait till somebody gets hurt, try to go in. And then start that way. If he starts as a backup, it's going to be a Teddy Bridgewater situation. He might be there 2 years.
Well, speaking of Bridgewater, I just wrote down Bridgewater. As a Panthers fan, Zach, you spent, was it $20 million on Bridgewater?
It's the same thing we've been paying Cam.
But you could have had Andy Dalton
for $7
and Jameis Winston both for $4 million. Yeah. Dalton's $3 million. He would get $7 million if he wins the Super Bowl. So let's not act like he's getting $7 million. So you could have had Dalton and Jameis for $4 million with your new coach to play around with.
Oh,
instead of 20 for Bridgewater, or I guess if you sign Cam long term, it's going to be 25 plus a year. He wants $30 million.
He probably
knowing
does.
him
and I like
his agent. I'm sure
I like Bridgewater, and that's still a low price for a quarterback. I think he's still young.
How many games did he win last year? 5.
Yeah, he was
so
5-0.
Bridgewater won
he was
5
5-0 or 5-1.
He won 5 games last year. Dalton has 5 winning seasons.
Yeah.
And got $3 million. Jameis threw for 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Was blind while doing it. Had LASIK surgery and only got $1 million. I mean, Jameis Winston $1 million. Like, why wouldn't think about Tampa not even wanting to give him $2 million to stay and back up Brady, or it's just, and then Cam not even being signed. Like the whole quarterback market is just weird and insane to me. And then you got the Packers over here drafting a first-round quarterback with your team trying to win the Super Bowl.
Talk about Jameis. Okay, so he did throw for all those yards, and he had a lot of interceptions, a lot of touchdowns.
Right.
Okay, Brady's not playing that much longer. Why would he just stay there and learn from Brady, right? And learn from Brady and see how much better your eyesight is, and then come in. I mean, that might even be a better situation for him. I don't understand.
Is it for Ron Rivera to trade for Kyle Allen?
Yeah,
and for Bruce Arians to not even keep Jameis for $2 million a year. That tells you the coaches don't want him.
Yeah,
it has to. Like what's the other reason for the Redskins that haven't brought him in unless Cam says he's the starter if I come to Washington, and then
because in Haskins we trust,
and Haskins Hunter trust.
I'll tell you this: when Rivera did not go get him, that's the biggest red flag of everything that we've had, because Rivera left the old regime,
right?
And he won with Cam.
Yeah, he went to Super Bowl with him, and he didn't want. He wanted his backup.
That's
he
very
traded
telling.
for his backup.
Yeah.
People wouldn't trade for Andy Dalton. People didn't trade for Jameis. People didn't trade for Cam. Ron Rivera traded for Kyle Allen.
And if you're, why wouldn't you just wait and get Andy Dalton instead of trading for Kyle Allen?
Right, like any of this, like none of the quarterback market makes any sense.
I told you why. I have told you why.
And then Eli's over here being forced to sit and retire.
It is because they're going to give Dwayne an even playing field for him to try and prove whether or not he's a franchise quarterback. You bring in Kyle Allen, someone of his equivalent, skill-wise and age-wise. Kyle Allen was only a starter for what, 10 games?
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Haskins has only
And
been
he can't hold on to the football.
Dwayne Haskins has only been a starter for maybe 4 games, not counting the ones that he was thrown into the fire just randomly at halftime or after a quarter. So you're bringing in someone, so it's an equal quarterback challenge. You're not bringing in somebody who's been to a Super Bowl, who's been to an MVP, and telling Dwayne Haskins, look, but you're still going to have a fair competition to try and beat the starting quarterback. Yeah. That's not what you do with someone last year who the organization as a whole and the coach as a whole and Jay Gruden stunted his growth. They didn't give him an opportunity to grow. For God's sakes, after the first 4 or 5 weeks, he was running damn scout team.
Well, he's from he's from Ohio State. They had the same doubts I did.
That's beside the point. If they were to do that right now with Justin Herbert coming out of Oregon, I'd have a problem with it. If they were going to – because, see, and I'm basing that off of he was a first-round pick. If you draft a quarterback in the first round, Jordan Love is going to be the exception. He's going to be expected to sit for as long as Aaron Rodgers can still play. I think
he's leaving.
I know, but I think Jordan Love understands that role.
I'm going with.
I think he understands that role. But usually,
guys,
when a franchise
if Rodgers just comes out tomorrow and said,
exactly
trade me to New England,
I'm telling you, not Skip. Who was it? Stephen A. Smith said I would come out and pound the table and say, trade me now.
I'm just saying. Most first-round quarterbacks that are taken are expected to do what? Come in and start and be the franchise quarterback. That's what you should.
So what's Aaron Rodgers worth at his age?
After the draft?
Yeah.
Obviously, $3 million for Andy Dalton or $1 million for I don't know.
Trade
value? Trade value?
Depends who you are.
Is he a first-round pick?
No.
I don't think he'd get it.
Not at his age.
But why wouldn't he?
I mean, you can get. Is he 36?
All right, Hunter. Dalton, Jameis, Cam, all these high first-round picks.
Dalton was a second-round pick.
How many of these guys are lasting 5 years as the team's even quarterbacks anymore? So if you wouldn't give up if your first-round pick's estimated to play for 5 years and you could,
I'll say this. Kevin, and I think he agrees with me on this, they've always overvalued picks over players. I think we've talked about that before. Like, you wouldn't trade a player for – Hall of Fame guy for I can't give you my first round pick for Hall of Fame guy.
If you're trading a known commodity for a chance, and that's just weird.
But look,
to
if
me.
you're looking at it this way, is Aaron Rodgers going to come in and be in that much of a difference maker with the roster you have right now? If say it is New England, no way in hell. New England's lost everybody. Say they do make a trade, New England. Say, we're not really going to try and get Trevor Lawrence next year. Jarrett Stidham was a stopgap. We're going to use some of our picks that we've acclimated right now and trade for Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. That is a huge hypothetical. Is he worth them offering up one of their first-round picks? Hell no, because that would go into play with why he should be mad with Green Bay. You gave up an opportunity of getting a bona fide starter to come in and help me. What is the one thing that they haven't had while Tom Brady was there? They didn't have weapons. Gronk retired, and then Julian Edelman turned into your number one receiver out of the slot. Their running back situation has always been a running back by committee. So they've never had true weapons around Tom Brady towards the last few seasons. So why would you trade a first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers and not have any weapons for him?
Why don't you go? What if he comes out and says, "Trade me to Las Vegas"?
I'm surprised he wouldn't want to go out west. He's from California.
Dallas. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. With leverage right now.
Does he really want to get right back with Mike McCarthy, though? Is he trying to get back in bed
those
with Mike
weapons?
McCarthy?
No, never mind.
No, he's not wanting to do that.
All right, so a couple of things. With that being said, Jerry has always said the past few years that you tell me how much it is to buy a Super Bowl ring.
He'd pay it.
I'll bet. Well, Robert Kraft is on the market right now for $1 million. So Jerry, there you go. That's just pocket change.
He said,
who is it?
Robert Kraft is
auctioning off some of his Super Bowl rings for charity.
He's probably got 10 of each one in the corner. So the owners have surplus of them things. You think he's just got one? Ain't no in hell. He's the owner.
Well, look, it don't matter really.
He's the owner.
Listen,
what's he going to do? Get on eBay and try to find somebody else?
Listen, it doesn't matter because he's the one that holds on to those Super Bowl trophies anyways.
He's got the big ass
He's got the trophies. He doesn't have to have the rings. He's like, what do I need the
bats.
ring for when I can swing this sumbitch around and everybody will see it?
I mean, he could wear 6 rings. He's only got 10 fingers, as far as I know. So
Maybe that's why he was so impressive with the ladies in Miami. We won't talk about that.
Here's my
right
theory
now.
on the quarterback situation.
Which one, Dallas or just all of them?
In the NFL, everything together. So, a report came out the other day. It was Chris Sims, actually, said that he has various good sources that Seattle tried to trade Russell Wilson to the Browns for the number 1 pick to get Baker Mayfield. They wanted Baker too. Now, how does that tie into everything else? When the Seahawks were good, they had a great defense, and all the money was on the defense, and Russell Wilson was making pennies.
Yep.
All the other teams since then have seen that. Stat came out, I heard today, that if your quarterback makes more than 15% of your cap, no team has won Super Bowl in like the past 20 years with that number. Matt Ryan blew a 28-3 lead with 18% of his cap. And then they said, well, the cap didn't blow the lead. Well, if they had 3% better defense, you'd probably won the game, right?
And if Kyle Shanahan didn't get all stir crazy, yeah, you probably would just run a clock out. But
yeah. So with that said, so think about that. Why would they want to get rid of Russell Wilson for Baker Mayfield if not for money?
Think about it. Russell Wilson, if I'm not mistaken, is the second or third highest paid quarterback in the league now.
Right. And then
he's about $35 million.
And now the numbers are coming out that Cam could be going to Seattle. Well, if Jameis gets $1 million and Dalton $3 million, how much are you getting Cam for 1 year? Let's say 5 at the best.
No. Cam ain't taking probably less than 10 for at least a year.
Let's say it's 10.
He might not have a choice.
Okay, right. Let's say he takes 10.
Depends on how bad he wants to play. Okay.
If he takes 10.
I've always said they have to put their pride aside, and I don't know if he can.
Do you not think Pete Carroll's sitting there thinking if he takes 10, looking at the past and how they've been so far towards Russell, I've got 6 foot Russell, 5'11" Russell. I got 6'6" Cam. They do pretty much the exact same thing. One costs now me $10 million, one costs me $35 million.
I don't want to downplay
They're looking
Russell
at the same
Wilson,
thing.
though,
Dallas
like
is going to be. Hunter, they just tried to trade him for Baker Mayfield.
I know, but
they're downplaying.
But
Pete Carroll's downplaying.
They're downplaying him a lot. But I'm just saying, Russell Wilson is on a different level than Cam Newton.
You're right.
Russell Wilson's got the only thing that Cam has that Russell Wilson doesn't is MVP.
But it might not be.
Russell
worth
Wilson's got the hardware.
It might not be even worth $20 million to them. You know, Russell Wilson has never had an MVP vote.
I knew that, and guess
not
what?
Not one vote.
And guess what else is funny? So Cam's got, 5 losing seasons? Russell Wilson doesn't have a losing season in his career.
I think Cam.
He's got a winning record traveling from West Coast to East Coast.
I think we went through Seattle to get to the championship that year, too.
You did. That was the game. You guys were in the championship game. You're up 14-0 before Cam ever threw a pass.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was you drove on the first drive, and then Kuechly got to pick 6 on the second one. And then you're sitting there up 14-0. That was before you. In the first drive, you just drove down their throats, handing the ball off. Cam made a run too as well on that drive, and you scored. But he never even threw a pass, and y'all are up 14-0. And now, with that said, he made a great pass into the end of that game, Greg Olsen.
That was the one up the seam, wasn't it? Yep,
I
forgot about that.
So yeah, I mean, and again, your defense had a pick 6 in the game. So
here's the only problem I have with Seattle, even considering the notion. If you do go the crazy route, bring in Cam to replace Russell Wilson, that defense is nowhere near what it was when you had the Legion of Boom. You had Earl Thomas, you had Bruce Irvin, you had Cam Chancellor back there, the two huge safeties. You had in his prime Richard Sherman at the corner position. What you have right now is nowhere close to it. I think the only thing you have right now that you can hang your hat on is Frank Clark. That's what you traded for when you traded.
Maybe you start thinking about some of this stuff though, and they was talking about Jadeveon Clowney was rumored to be going to Seattle. Wasn't that a little bit? So
Clowney
the money,
was with Seattle.
The money. Well, he was leaving Seattle.
He's leaving Seattle because he doesn't want to be there, and basically they don't want to pay him the money either in Seattle.
Here's people who've got MVP votes since Russell Wilson came into the league: Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Adrian Peterson, Matt Ryan, J.J. Watt, Drew Brees, Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Derek Carr, DeMarco Murray, Tony Romo, Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, Wagner. Who's Wagner?
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner. Somebody gave him an MVP vote, and then Carson Palmer got an MVP vote.
Wagner's defense for Seattle too.
Yeah, there you go. There's
Bobby Wagner
defense.
was in Seattle.
So,
if I'm not mistaken, he's back in Seattle.
So Bobby Wagner got more MVP votes in his career
than
Russell Wilson has gotten. And you're telling me I'm disrespecting him.
And what's crazy is, they said Peyton Manning got MVP votes. That was one of the years that he won MVP, and they went on to lose to Seattle in the Super Bowl. That was his 55 touchdown season, the greatest, one of the best quarterback seasons we've ever seen out of a quarterback. But guess who stopped him? It was Russell Wilson and the Seahawks.
Dare you not to giggle.
I can't. I couldn't do it.
I had Zach in a second. I'm almost going to text Zach across the thing.
I don't agree with anybody right now looking at the landscape of the NFL and everybody's quarterback position. I don't agree any team really needs to move off of their quarterback for Cam Newton. The only one that should have done it would have been the Chargers if they aren't sold on Tyrod and they don't take the young gun from Oregon.
Right. And they're set.
Yeah, they said
Tyrod's playing this year, and
and
I understand.
Herbert might take over for him if Herbert shines. But other than that, just looking at the landscape, if they don't already have a quarterback that they just drafted as a rookie, who really needs a quarterback?
I just still,
I mean, people could argue and say, okay, Washington, you're the team that needs a quarterback. But I still don't know what Dwayne's going to be because he only started 3 games last year.
The reason nobody's got Cam is because not only do you not know about the injuries or whatever in his play, it is the baggage. It is the attention. Do you want your backup quarterback doing interviews if he is your backup? If he's your starter?
Yeah, do you want him having more limelight than your starter?
Is he a leader of men? Some of the guys say yes. Some of the guys maybe not.
That was one of the big knocks that kept, besides the kneeling, Colin Kaepernick, I believe.
I will say this, too.
Do you want to bring Kaepernick in as a backup, knowing that every reporter in the world is going to talk to him after games and not your starters and not the other guys that are on the field?
Think about, Washington, get him. Okay, so what's it worth to Washington? Okay, so if they put Cam in that lineup, does that up them to let's just say it give them 7 wins? Okay, so they're going to get a mid-first round draft pick. Would they not rather go with Haskins and see what he's got?
Already wasted a first round on.
You see what? Right. So it's got a lot to do with, okay, is he going to get us to the playoffs? No, then I don't need him. I better have a draft pick.
And I want you to think about it. Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen alone are making both less than you would have to pay Cam Newton. And it is the fact that, they've brought it up, Tom's brought it up a couple times too. We still have Alex Smith on contract. We're still paying him that money.
All right, I've got some.
And that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like 20-something million a year.
I mean, you guys honestly aren't looking for Super Bowl probably.
We already had dead money with Trent Williams because he didn't want to pay. He didn't want to play. And now we have dead money with Alex Smith because, to me, he just won't play again.
This is the amount of days since the last NFC East win. Cowboys 493, Eagles 492, Giants 3,447 days. The Redskins. It's been
since what happened?
It's been 5,000 days since the Redskins won last playoff win.
I was thinking it was 91 since they won a championship, and that might
be the last.
That might be.
Win.
Because when we made it with Robert Griffin in 2011, 2012, we lost because he blew his knee out in that game.
So rumors about California, 49ers and Cardinals do not have home games on the same day the whole season. So if you're talking about rescheduling games and moving things around, Arizona may be a spot for some of these California teams.
Because Arizona did come out and say, you can play sports, just with no fans. The state is open for all professional sports to be able to play.
All right, Zach. Only one team in the NFL has a winning record against the Patriots since 2001.
Baltimore Ravens.
They're one game over 500. It's not the Ravens.
Is it the Steelers?
Any more guesses?
You talking about the whole AFC?
I didn't say the AFC.
Or just a team?
Best record versus the Patriots since 2001.
Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
I remember playing them.
The Panthers are the only team in the NFL, according to this tweet, and it may be wrong, and if it is, sorry. But according to this tweet, Panthers are 3-2 versus the Patriots. One game over 500. The only team in the NFL over 500 against the New England Patriots.
I'm really surprised that Baltimore didn't have a better record.
I'll just say this:
they're not even on.
That speaks volumes, really, more to how great the Patriots are and the Panthers.
No, I think
yeah.
it's not familiarity with each other.
Right. Also,
I'm just saying
Luke Kuechly tackled Gronk in the end zone on a pass interference
He
that
did,
was not
and
called.
we will never forget that. We will never
That
let
pass
anybody
interference
forget that.
would change that winning
Yeah.
percentage
I
real
think
quick.
that was was that this one? He's
Yeah.
face guarding.
Oh, yeah.
Face guarding.
I was
yeah.
I was close enough to throw the flag on that play. I was like
Yeah.
the 8th row, I think,
Yeah.
in the
He's
end
face
zone.
guarding him like this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Didn't even turn around and look at the ball.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable. There was no flag thrown on that play. Hunter, real quick on iRacing, I'll show you that video. You can just kind of watch it while I'm playing. This is my pit stop on the PlayStation 2 yesterday. My son and I were working on it, and there was a wreck in the pit, Zach, and one of the cars got sideways, and I mean on its side between my pit wall and me, and where my pit guys were. Have you ever seen anything like that? How can the video game not get the pits right? Like, why are we crashing in the pits?
Hey, whoa, wait a minute now. You got to keep the physics right.
It's
If they
gotta
do
be
bump
real.
each other.
It's got to be real. There's a picture of it, Hunter, of him up against the wall. Zach, I don't know
How'd
if
you get out of
see it
that?
over there? Well, I was fine. I don't know how he got out of it. I was in my pit.
I don't know how you fix that.
I don't know how he fixed that, but yeah. So the son, has been watching the iRacing.
Mm-hmm.
He's been wanting to do it, and he's realizing how hard it is to keep those NASCAR cars actually on the track. All right, Zach, Steelers, real quick. Hunter was poo-pooing Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
I'm reading you the teams they're playing against and the quarterbacks, and I want you to give me win-loss. Let's count them up, okay?
The Steelers are playing against?
Yes. Now, in his career, he's only had one season under 500. No, it was never, wasn't it? Was it 7 and 8? I better pull up real quick to make sure I'm accurate on the Ben Roethlisberger stat. But I don't think it's either 0 or 1 losing season in his career out of 14. It won't take me long to figure it out, folks. I promise you.
Look, man.
One, he was 7 and 8 was the 1 year. Don't look mad at me. Hold on. Let's see what Zach does.
I'll see how he is off his injury.
Giants, Daniel Jones.
What are you asking? I still
Win-loss. Steelers.
That's who they play, the Giants.
Oh, you're talking about this coming
Yeah,
season?
I want
Okay.
you to say win-loss on 'cause I'm asking
they're
you.
beating
We're
the
gonna
Giants.
we're going to keep up, see what
They're
you
beating the Giants. I know what you're doing now. I was trying to think you was going
Right.
to ask me if he played.
No.
What's his record against Peyton Manning? Or
Yeah. At the Giants in week 1. Week 2 at home against Drew Lock and the Broncos.
that should be a win.
Broncos in Pittsburgh.
Should be a win.
Texans in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh?
Mhm.
God, I'd have to give it to Pittsburgh. Minka Fitzpatrick back there.
Week 4 at Tennessee.
I think they lose that one.
Okay. Week 5 at home versus Philadelphia. Now the Steelers were 8 and 8 last year.
I'm gonna say they're gonna win. They're hard to beat in Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go if Roethlisberger's playing. I say they win.
All right. Home versus the Brownies.
They're winning that game.
Hey, easy. At Baltimore.
They're getting beat.
At Dallas.
Lose.
Home against Cincinnati.
Win.
At Jacksonville.
Win.
Home against the Ravens.
Loss.
Home. Hunter can answer this one. Redskins. How about Steelers at Bills, Zach?
Loss. That's gonna be a good game.
That's Hunter says.
That's
Hunter's
gonna be a good
second
game.
team. Steelers at Bengals.
Win.
Home against the Colts.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good game.
Phillip Rivers at home.
Ooh, Indianapolis at home.
No, in Pittsburgh. It's
gonna be cold.
in
Loss.
December
They're losing.
27th.
They're losing. No. I'm saying
The
Colts
gonna
are
lose.
losing.
All right.
Yeah.
And last game of the season at the Browns.
I'm gonna say they lose that game.
So Zach's
Trap
got,
I'm gonna say they split.
Trap
yeah.
game.
Zach's got Steelers at 10 and 6.
I think that's fair.
And the way we did the math on it, most teams last year that had a winning record made the playoffs. I think only two teams with a winning record would have missed the playoffs, or 500. Two teams at 500 would have missed the playoffs. So it wasn't
They
even a winning
about made it
record.
without him last year.
Right, they were 8 and 8 last
Yeah.
year. So every team with a winning record last year would make this playoff format this year. And so Hunter says they're going to be worse.
And he's at least worth 2 games, right?
I don't know. Ask
Over
him.
Mason Rudolph.
What, 2 games? You can give him 2 games, but
That's 10-6.
listen, all I gotta know is how that arm's gonna be coming back, because it was his throwing arm that he injured, and it was his elbow. Okay, it was his elbow. and Ben is old.
I think
He's old, man.
I think it's a great spot for Cam.
Ben is different than Tom. Ben doesn't take care of his body. Tom takes care of every bit of his body, and he is so much into just trying to stay in shape.
Ben looks like he just got off the couch eating Cheetos, and
that's what he does.
George Foreman won a heavyweight championship eating cheeseburgers off an indoor grill.
Look, I'm just saying.
I'm doing this.
He is.
You watched
Ben
the video.
is pushing late 30s, and he's coming off of
he might be in his 40s.
He's
not
quite,
yet.
Not
he's not
quite.
the same age
Here,
as
hold on, I got
Eli.
this thing up.
Eli's right. Did Eli retire at 38?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Him and Phillip and all them.
Ben will be 38 this season.
He's still
late 30s. Late 30s, closer to 40.
I think that's a good. If Cam be a backup, I think that's a good backup spot.
Oh yeah, because the other two backup quarterbacks are trash.
Especially if Ben gets hurt, you can throw him in.
Cam won't be a backup if he can't get his ego passed. His camp is set up to wait in case something happens and a starter gets hurt.
I just want to see him come out dressed like Red Riding Hood in the Steelers Nation.
The only other place I could see Cam going if they're totally done with their quarterback is Detroit. If they're just done with Stafford, then I could see him in Detroit.
But 10-6 is that's
I
the
could see him
Steelers. That's
going-
the Steelers every year.
I could
9-7,
see him going-
10-6.
I could
That's
see
what
him
they
going
are.
8-8, 7-9.
Rams new uniforms. They're there on the
Trash.
screen.
Garbage.
I didn't like him when we seen him first time. I actually liked him today.
No, I can't.
But I do
A
like
child.
I do like the
I mean,
old
I'm not getting
Ram thing.
I'm not
but
getting a good look on the helmet though. So
It's more like a straight than the Ram hook.
I've got to pull that up.
I saw it on mine earlier. I didn't think it looked horrible.
I can't stand it.
I
hated
the Chargers.
the new logo.
Oh,
The Chargers
it's got
do.
the oh god, they even did the. No, why would they do the horn like that on the actual
straight.
helmet?
It ain't like a
They
rounded
cut
thing.
it in half. Yeah,
I'm telling you, dude, I don't like
you had
them at all.
you had a perfect helmet design, and then you did that. It looks like the Chargers now, really.
The Chargers got a new outfit.
Yeah, and the Chargers look good.
I liked it.
Like I understood, I understand doing a new logo and stuff like that you're in LA, but as far as the helmet goes, well, I mean, they've been wearing those white ones. Why was the point of them wearing the white ones if that's weren't they where they were going, Hunter? I thought that was the whole reason they were wearing the white ones, so they didn't match. And they didn't match the last two seasons for no reason whatsoever then. Because the whole deal was they were supposed to be going to the white like they used to, and they were honoring the white helmets in LA by not wearing the gold out there in the yellow, but they couldn't change their jerseys because of the licensing deal. So they've been out there not matching for 2 years, but just based on, jeez, yeah, I'm not. I don't know why I care. I'm not a Rams fan.
It looks like Mike Hart from the Appalachian State game.
But Hunter, you know how I've been talking. Yeah, you know I've been talking about the pants. You should be kind of more, something to do with your logo. You can kind of incorporate that. So they went all out on changing the helmet, but then on the pants it's just a stripe. Just nothing fancy.
Dude, I
nothing.
hate everything about it.
Hunter's gonna be. What about they got a gradient now on the
Like that.
numbers, like the Falcons got a. Yeah, this is a Shelby Golden Line design. I think the blue ones, the blue jerseys look decent. The white ones.
You want to know what I
don't like that at all.
You want to know
It
what I
looks
don't?
It looks like Detroit Lions with
I
yellow
don't like
shoes.
the helmets or the white.
You know what I don't like at all about the uniforms? Look in the top left corner of the uniform. It says Los Angeles Rams right there.
I can't see
It's
that.
like
never seen
it's
that.
like a patch.
Yeah.
That's been sewn on that says the Los Angeles Rams. You can see it really good there on that white one. Look, there's a patch there on the left corner, and it says Los Angeles Rams. I mean, why don't you just have Rams or LA printed across the front of the shirt? Why's it got to be a separate patch?
I swear that helmet looks more like a chart. Like, why is the horn in two different sections?
I don't know. Kevin, me and you both said I definitely let it be known that I hated
They have
the
a
look
They have a
when they made the new logo change. I definitely don't like these uniforms. And
have-
like you said, I'm not a Rams fan. I'm
That's
just
a
telling you
moon.
how it looks. I
That's a
can't stand it.
moon
the
and the Panthers little thingamajigger there.
the Chargers new outfits look pretty sweet. They're on down
Right.
a little bit. They look pretty cool. But I'm a fan of the powder blue anyway. So.
Yeah, they made like 5 different ones so they get, if they messed up on one, they can at least not wear it. Not like what they just did in the Patriots. Have you seen their awful plain Jane?
I couldn't really see It just didn't stick out of anything.
It's just
It looks normal.
It's like Belichick went in there and said,
me,
"Give me whatever people would complain about the most."
To me, if you're gonna do a uniform change, dude, do a uniform change. Like what the Rams did right now. It's fairly obvious that you did a uniform change. Whereas what you're speaking of, the Patriots, they're saying, "Look at our new uniforms," and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "What's different?"
Just make them look like a hoodie.
That would be funny.
I'm just looking at it. I'm like, what's different?
That would be funny. Yeah.
What's different? If you're gonna tell me you're changing the uniform,
Right.
then change the damn uniform. Don't be like, oh well, we added another stripe to the sleeve. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a really big change, buddy.
All right. Moving on real quick. A couple of news and notes. PGA Tour talking about putting together testing to get going. Said they would not disclose names of any players who test positive. Be up to the individual to release the information, but the player will be required to withdraw. If that happens to a golfer after a 36-hole cut, he will receive last place money. The test will be required of any players or caddies who elect to travel between events. Tour expects to be administering about 400 tests per week on the PGA Tour. So as long as the golfers get to use up all the tests and the important things in this world, I hope nobody's missing a test over any of these sports. Which is if they aren't, then fine. That's good news. Then that means I guess it's not doing as bad as we thought. But so golf looking to come back. I always thought that would be one of the easier ones to come back. Between you and your caddy, you don't have to have interaction.
And they're
with
not
anyone else.
100,000 people in the stands.
Now, some of the bigger tournaments, those people are you're shoulder to shoulder on the big guys, and like you're saying, as far as the stands, they can play golf without fans. That now the guys aren't gonna. They're gonna. It's gonna be way more quiet out there for the guys, and it's probably maybe a little weird, more intense. Some guys feed off energy. I wouldn't mind it.
Like the roar,
right? To hear the guys, the crowd. Some of the guys will love it. Probably that some of the guys that walk around their caddies and do nothing but yell at fans the whole time. Have you ever been out there to a golf event, Hunter, or either one of you?
I have. I went to Wachovia,
right?
And I done. I think me and you actually went to some of the senior stuff.
Did you go to Rock Barn with me?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
The
Walrus.
Right. This is Greg Stadler. So they're looking to come back. Of course, we talked about NASCAR coming back, and then Zach, I had a stat for you. We talked Jordan and Peyton earlier. I did mean to mention this. Head-to-head, Jordan averaged 29.6, 7 rebounds, and 3.8 assists and 2 steals against Peyton. Peyton averaged 16, 5, and 8 assists with 1.6 steals. Jordan's game high on Peyton was 45, 18 rebounds, 9 assists. Peyton's highs against Jordan, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 16 assists, 6 steals. Jordan had 7 steals against him. So it says games of better stats, points, Jordan 19, Gary Payton 2. Rebounds, Jordan 14, Gary Payton 4. Assists, Gary Payton 17, Jordan 3. Steals, Jordan 9, Gary Payton 6, and blocks 7, Jordan 4 for Gary Payton. So there's your head-to-head matches. People talk about Jordan not, passing. That wasn't his job.
No.
It was not Kobe's job to do that.
No.
It was that, and I had Jason saying it here the other day, and Jason's a baseball player, and his brother's a basketball player. And I asked Jason, I said, according to the statisticians, they would say the best play was if Andy had the ball in the lane and got double teamed, would be to kick it to you. And he went, no. Right. But that would be like when Jordan made that reaction to Cartwright. Like, no, like
right. He shouldn't be taking the last shot.
Me shooting double teamed is still better than Bill Cartwright shooting wide the hell open at any point. And I think a lot of people don't. It's like that with it's the analytics folks, Hunter. They're the ones ruining this stuff because they look at the percentages and say, well, you shouldn't be shooting that mid range. I'm like, well, if you've been on the basketball court, that shot happens a lot. You play church basketball. How many people shoot mid range jumpers?
Everybody shoots mid range jumpers.
Well, you just mentioned
Kawhi Leonard's been shooting mid-range jumpers.
He's won one championship.
And he's won multiple championships.
You mentioned Cartwright a minute ago. It made me think of something about the Last Dance that we didn't talk about, and that was Scotty sitting out that play.
Was that this week?
It was this week, and
the 1.8.
One Kukoc just dropped it. I mean, he nailed it.
Well, Kukoc seemed fairly confident in his abilities.
He
That's
was
one thing that
confident shooter.
He didn't talk like it. Didn't talk. He's not tough at all talking like that. But as far as shooting and everything, and listening to him talk, he was very confident. He's like, well, I've made many shots before. Like he wasn't thinking twice about it. And they even showed the replays of during that season he was taking those shots. And in the end, Tony Kukoc was probably a better shooter than Scotty.
Yeah.
But and that was Scotty not knowing his role.
He wasn't Jordan.
I'm not Jordan to where when we say Jordan taking the shot double teams is better than anyone else taking it single or open, that's what we mean. Scotty was not that. Like if Scotty's wide open, sure, take the shot. But he's not, hey, we want you shooting it with a man in your face. Right.
He just wasn't that accurate.
All right, let's see. CC going through my stuff. MLB looking to return. We got a problem though, Hunter.
I saw this. They can't agree on revenue shares between the owners and the players, and I think it's bullshit.
Well, they didn't.
They're not going to agree on it. The players say that if they do it based on revenue, that's a salary cap, and the baseball players will not agree to any type of salary cap whatsoever. So they don't want to tie anything. They want the owners to play prorated, and the owners want them to pay by revenue, saying if we don't have any fans, we can't prorate your contracts. We can't pay your contracts. So that's the argument right now. Who's right? Who's wrong? So you're asking, do the owners take a loss on the season altogether by
paying out their contracts,
or and then you're going to have some guys
I hate to tell these
baseball
players. I hate to tell these baseball players, but the businessmen are in the right because any business that's smart would play it that way. What's our revenue going to look like? How are we, when you run a business, that's what you got to look like. It's like, are we going to be in the red or are we going to be able to stay in the black? And if it's going to get us in the red, then 9 times out of 10, a businessman is going to walk away from it.
Yeah, but the problem is you got two different entities clashing. You got the MLB Players Association against the owners.
And the baseball players don't give up anything.
Nope. They don't, they don't. It goes back to the Last Dance we talked about the other day, the strike year. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, we're not playing. And the owners had to ante up.
Hunter, to me, I think the owners, I think part of the reason that Major League Baseball does have that minor league system is to replace these guys when they do that. Think about it. If they didn't have any minor league system,
they couldn't do replacement players.
There couldn't be any threat to those guys. Mm-hmm. So
say, look, man,
that's their threat to the baseball guys.
Homeboy over here wants to play for nothing, but you think you can threaten me? I'll just replace you. He wants only like $25,000 to play this. I'll let him come up here and play.
I really think that's the built-in incentive of having so many levels of baseball. At some point, you're going to find 25 guys that say, "I'll play for the Yankees," or "I'll play for the Cardinals," or "I'll play for so and so."
I'll prove myself at this next level.
See, Jordan, he didn't have to. He had money.
That's the thing. He didn't have to. You're 100% right. And to him, why? It would have took away from what he was doing if he's playing against,
because he didn't get there on his own ability.
If he's playing against other minor leaguers,
I've always pushed for a salary cap in baseball, truthfully, because I think you'll get better baseball. You won't have these West Coast markets and New York markets that can just pay everybody out the ass, and all the smaller teams.
I just want a baseball team around here.
Well, that's true too.
I would love it.
North Carolina would be a good baseball state.
All right, so
you'd just be split everywhere. Braves fans, Nationals fans, and Cardinals fans.
Listen,
everywhere.
They've gotten to the point now where I want to make sure, because there's two topics they're talking: Braves. Write that down. Mm-hmm. And then what was we just talking about right before that?
We're just talking about the Players Association wanting money.
The last sentence somebody said, and I was going to say something about that.
You talking about a team here?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, I was talking about it would be like equal games, or you even playing field with a salary cap.
Right. There you go. That's what I was going to talk about. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the salary cap. All right. I think the problem is that the floor, whatever the floor is that they have to spend, and there is no cap, they maybe not necessarily set. What if they set a cap to at a certain point, but also a floor? And I know some of them already have floors and everything, but there's got to be some way where you say, to make it fair for the teams like Kansas City and whoever, to pay enough money to field a team. Like for the Angels to sign Trout for the same price as the Braves, 7 players, and the Braves said they're better than them.
Yeah.
And supposedly that investment, if that's the Yankees investing $40-some million into them, they expect them to win. Mm-hmm. And there should be some type of, if you're going to put that, Hunter,
I mean, you just look at it.
There needs to be some type of floor to get the other teams to spend whatever money else it is.
And you look at the Garrett Cole situation. The Yankees just outbid everybody by a whole mountainside, and they were able to land Garrett Cole with the Yankees. Now, whether or not if it comes down to the guy's a free agent and he has to choose between the teams and he just wants to be a Yankee, great. That's wonderful. But if another team out here could not even fathom thinking about putting that amount of money on the table without losing half of their roster, that's a problem. I don't like seeing teams buy championships, which has been the knock on the Yankees for years. If you're not a Yankees fan, all you'll ever say is they buy their championships.
I mean, the Marlins
they buy
did.
everybody.
The Marlins did it, twice, pretty much.
Yeah.
Then they
twice.
stunk every time.
Yeah, then they got rid of everybody. got rid of everybody.
Once you
got
can't
two
really
rings.
afford to pay everybody, but not.
Think about it, the Marlins got more rings, Zach, than the Braves have, and the Braves have consistently been better than the Marlins have.
And that farm system just keeps feeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got a good farm system with the Braves, but
they do have a good farm system at the Braves. Just what I'm trying to speak of is so Garrett Cole is arguably one of the better starting pitchers in the league. I'm not going to say he's first or second. I'm just going to say arguably he's probably a top 5 starting pitcher in the league right now. And you can go ahead and say there was over 80% of the league was not even in his market of play. Not just because he doesn't want to go there, but for the price he was going to ask. These teams just weren't going to be able to shell out as much money as the other teams. And I'm speaking basically on three teams that probably could have shelled out as much money as they did. The Yankees are one of them. The Dodgers are another one. And then the other team would have probably been the Angels or another team in L.A. Houston maybe just to retain him. But besides that, Kansas City
just for the money aspect.
For the money, Kansas City can't afford him. The Cubs maybe, but the White Sox probably couldn't afford him. The Indians couldn't afford him. The Brewers can't afford him. And some of those teams, Tampa Bay can't afford him because they can't even draw a damn crowd. But they're as good as they are. And it speaks to what Kevin was saying. The Braves, for what was it? For our 7 players, we could have Mike Trout. But Mike Trout ain't winning nothing. We're winning. We're making playoff games. We're on the rise right now. So there's no way in hell you could convince me to pay a player $400,000.
Would you trade your
$400 million?
Would you trade your 7 starters for Trout?
Hell no. There's not a bone in
I
my
wouldn't
body.
even think
But
about
Trout
it.
fans would be like, well, according to the stats, that's the way it adds up.
No. There's
Hunter,
not a player.
have you seen this ridiculous article?
I don't know. Hold on. But let me just say this. There's not a player.
I wouldn't trade.
There's not a player
Yeah.
outside of not even Mike Trout. I wouldn't do it for Yelich. I wouldn't do it for Bellinger. I wouldn't do it for any.
I
of
wouldn't
them.
think my favorite player all time is Ken Griffey Jr. and I wouldn't do it for him
No,
because you can be the Cincinnati Reds when they had Griffey.
that's exactly right. If you don't have anybody around him, what the hell's the point?
I would just love to have an ML team around here, and it don't make quite a lot of sense because there's a lot of. This is a baseball state. Look at the Tar. Even from high school to American Legion to the Tar Heels, how good they are perennially every year.
NC State's gotten good at baseball too. I'll give them credit for that.
I would just absolutely love to have a team here. I think people would just flock to it, but.
North Carolina is a mixing pot for fan bases anyways. They're all transfers in
Can't be
Charlotte
no worse
area.
than the Hornets.
Transfers from up north in Charlotte area, and they're rooting for Yankees and Giants and all those teams anyway. So very rarely do you see homegrown fans rooting for homegrown teams, and that would just how it would have to be for if Charlotte got a professional team. Only the kids that would be born and growing up around that team being here would they be fans. Other than that, I'm still going to root for the Braves. I'm still a Braves fan. Would it be fun to go to? Yeah. But I'm still going to root for the Braves.
Well, what's good about having a team is having other teams come into town.
That's what I was talking.
And you see it in basketball. The good teams draw good crowds in the NBA. But the thing about baseball, it's a whole series. It's a whole weekend. So you can plan to go to one of the 3 games usually. When that happens, even when St. Louis comes to Atlanta yearly, we try to make a plan. Some years we don't get down because of football because they changed the schedule. But for the first 25 years of my life, they played on the same 2 weekends every year, and Atlanta and in St. Louis. We could plan to they're going to be in Atlanta this day. So I'm sure it's Wednesday, Hunter. Like he knows Monday and Tuesday. His show's on Wednesday, but let's call him whatever. Anyway. What else was just talking about? It's silly. I keep losing my train of thought. I'm done. What was I talking?
You're done. You're gonna tell me
Braves
something
and
about
Cardinals.
this. Braves and Cardinals.
The Braves. Okay.
Yeah.
So we went through this already with the Panthers coming through town, and so I think the teams are more loyal. Maybe like the Red Sox fans, the Yankees fans, maybe, and the Braves. Those guys are embedded. A lot of them probably won't. That are older than 30. but there will be a lot of people under 30, especially people. 100. All the people in every yuppie in Charlotte will be a Charlotte, whatever they are, fan.
Oh, I know. Everybody that lives there said, "My city, my city."
So you just expect.
You already see how they are with the Knights, and I'm not going to knock it. I like going to Knights games, but I prefer going when they're playing Gwinnett, when they're playing the feeder team for the Braves, because I got lucky last year. My uncle gave me tickets, and I went. And I was able to see, Fultonewicz. He was on, he was rehabbing down there, and he was pitching in Chiarte. Guys that were they could play at the next level, but they were just doing a little minor league stint. I got lucky to see them play. So I think that kind of goes into play with what you were saying. It's the other teams that are coming to town that you would get to see. I think I could get that, but fans just switching. There's no way my grandmother, who's a diehard Atlanta Braves fan, is switching to root for a
Cardinals,
Charlotte team.
Right. Well,
they're
I'm too old.
rooted.
I'm too old. The family roots.
They're so rooted.
But anyone who's not a family, if their dad didn't watch baseball and they do, or anything like
Because
that,
you could say guys under 30, which possibly if they live in that area. But I'm 24, but I've been a Braves fan my whole life.
Yeah,
I was there.
So
I went.
here's the serious.
I've just been down to games there. I'm tied to them.
So here's the serious difference between the Panther situation and the Braves situations and now. So when the Panthers came into town, the fans. So what are the most fans around here, Hunter? If you were to name no, Hunter. Right now, name baseball fans. What are the most baseball fans
in the area?
North
Cardinals, Braves, Yankees, Red Sox.
Okay, so if
maybe Nationals fans.
How many
Dodgers?
How many of those teams are regional?
3.
Okay,
maybe. If St. Louis and Atlanta could be considered regional because you could pick up their broadcasts.
So
and the Yankees are just on everything.
So when the Panthers came, the favorite teams were Redskins, Cowboys, and Falcons. Okay, those are the 3 closest teams to the area.
Right.
When the Panthers came, it was 1 year that the Redskins won in 91, and the Cowboys had won a Super Bowl, 3 Super Bowls before 95. The Panthers came. So you're asking the local fan base who just saw your team win it. If you're 5, no matter how old you are, if you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and your team wins the Super Bowl in 91,
do you remember it?
In 91, are you changing to pull for the Panthers in 96 just because they live near you? Now, a lot of Falcons fans might have, but the Cowboys fans and Redskins fans did not change. And if you not for the first few years. Now, the later Redskins fans, the people your age, like if your dad was a Redskins fan, the guys your age turned into Panthers fans.
Oh yeah,
because they had never seen
never
the Reds.
Never seen a championship.
You've never seen the playoffs. 5,000 years.
Seen one playoff.
5,000 games.
I've seen one playoff. It was the RG3 playoff.
Right. You're
and
right
Kirk Cousins did make a playoff.
So, to me, it would be it's not as big of a switch as the football was back then because it was regional and those teams were coming off championships.
The only one that wasn't was Atlanta.
So if you're sitting here and bringing the baseball team in now, it's been 25 years since the Braves won a championship.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 now since the Cardinals, 6 or 7 since I can't remember when the last year we won it. Do I got a shirt around here that says it?
Somewhere, I don't know. You're just looking around everywhere.
Yankees, Red Sox, these aren't regional teams. One on that.
The Red Sox are the only one that have won within the last 5 years.
So that's kind of my argument on why it might not even be. I think you would get a good start in your fan base. Like people like.
Well, why couldn't we just do this?
It'd be like if I took Judah there and him
right,
and he liked baseball, he might pull for him because he don't really know who the Braves are.
Okay,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
He see you wear them, and he might just pull.
He might just pull
against you.
He saw this today, and he says, "I got a small A, Daddy, on mine. I want the big A like yours." That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, but you're the small one.
That piqued my, but he's starting to notice logos.
Yeah, logos that for young kids that can really drive a kid. But what I was just, I think Charlotte would benefit if they just pulled the team out of Tampa Bay and put it in Charlotte.
That's honestly the best move.
I think that would be the best move.
If you're gonna move a team, if they're doing, expansion. Portland and Charlotte's the 1-2 places for expansion.
for baseball.
That's their 2 top spots.
Because we're already, I mean, if it's set in stone, we're already getting a soccer team.
Yeah.
In the coming years. So
Sorry, Hunter.
what? I'm fine with that.
I know. That's why I'm saying sorry. I'd rather have baseball.
No, I'm just saying they're looking for
I know what you're
markets.
saying.
They're looking for markets because that's the one thing that they don't want to have is a Tampa Bay. These leagues don't want to have a Tampa Bay's and a Jacksonville where people don't show up to games and there's just empty stadiums. That's what they don't want to show.
Mm-hmm.
So they're seeing that Charlotte can at least draw a crowd if it's good. The Panthers could draw a crowd if it's good. The Knights draw a really good crowd because it's really,
they might have a little temperature on that.
The only one that
New Night Stadium.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't draw a crowd, but it's because they don't put a good product on the floor is the Hornets. And the only time they do draw a crowd is when LeBron or Kawhi is in town. So, if you were to take Tampa Bay, the team that they have, because that team's good enough to make a wild card or a playoff in that division. They usually finish second behind the Yankees, so they're good enough to do it. If you take that roster, that manager, and that ownership and just move it to Charlotte, you would see immediate impact on the fan base because you're like, look, this is a winning franchise, and they just moved to Charlotte. And it's like ownership hasn't changed, players haven't changed, manager hasn't changed. All that's changed is the name on the shirt. So we're putting the same product on the field that just the people in Tampa Bay didn't appreciate. So we can go out to these games and see winning baseball. And if you kept them in the same division, the Yankees would come to town a lot.
All right, for example,
I think it'd be really nice.
I was looking at some attendance things real quick. You talk about Tampa.
I think it's like 3,000.
They average.
Horrible.
It says they average 14,000.
Okay.
It has a capacity of 25,000. BB&T Park in Charlotte has a capacity of 10,000. So you're not asking for that much more addition to that particular park if you wanted to come in. Now
I think they designed that part to go up anyways.
So let's say you bought a team. What they could do would be you leave the field, of course, is there. Everything is there. So all you do is cut off those streets and build up a little bit more. Like you just said, it's set to build. They would probably want to bulldoze all the stuff because that's what they do instead of just building on top of it.
Right.
But
we don't just rebuild. We destroy.
But just adding double the seats on top of it. I mean, put you right in Tropicana's Fieldhouse. Now, do you want to take a chance and build a 40-some thousand seat stadium before you even win anything?
I think it would have
empty.
to. It would have to come down to ownership. Who the owners were.
Like Tropicana's 25,000, or do you expand to 25,000 and say, let's fill it first, then screw the taxpayers out in 10 years and say new one.
Build the 25,000. You want it to look full, and then do like Chicago did and build on top of the.
I think they would do fine. I think they do fine cutting out 5,000 seats. Let's make it 20,000. 20,000 people could go there. Yeah. How much does Bank of America fit?
60-some,
60?
68.
Then they hardly even fill that up really in the last 2 years.
They only fill it up when they're good.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that speaks more towards the Charlotte fan.
It does. I agree with you 100%.
The fan of the area. They're not going to go down there unless they're good.
Yep.
But why pay $100 sit in the upper deck to watch the team lose?
And I think that's what makes the Knights at least more attractive to go to because it's kind of like a Crawdads feel. Not quite. It's a little, it's a little bit nicer than the Crawdads, but it's reasonably priced unless you, of course, want one of the box seats or behind the plate. Reasonably priced. They've got good promotional stuff. And the AAA team's decent. Like, they're not bad. They're decent. And you see players that possibly be playing at the next level. I think for the price, that what drives people to go there is because it's like it's not going to break the bank for us to go down there and see a baseball game. Yeah. It's really not. And the only thing I don't like about it, I'm not sold on the location. I still think it's a pain in the ass to get to.
Yeah, and I think Kevin's mentioned this before, too. You're talking about pricing. Going to a Hornets game or something like that, you don't want to break the bank to go watch the Hornets.
No.
Take a family of 4.
Right.
It's going to knock you out, with food and everything else that you.
I know. My cousin takes her two sons.
You can either go 2 or 3 times a year and barely have any experience, sit in the upper deck and eat cheap hot dogs or whatever. You can go one time, stay down low, spend a lot of money. It's the amount of money some of this costs is ridiculous. All right, Zach, I've got some guys. I've got real quick. Tony Gwynn, his birthday this weekend. I had some stats on him.
Did you get the Facebook post on that?
I don't know which one you're talking about, but
you talk and I'll tell you if that's it.
He could have. He could come back to life today. strike out 1,182 straight times and still bat over 300. Tony Gwynn never batted 400 in a season, but over 179 game span from 93 to 1995. So over the 94 season, but he didn't do it in that season. He batted 403. And in that stretch, Zach, he struck out 26 times.
You got stats, but not the same as they're on the same lines.
How about Pete Rose? Could return to baseball, go 750 for 750, and still have a worse batting average than Tony Gwynn. Mm-hmm. Intentional walks to lead off a inning. This is not Tony Gwynn, but here's you one in Major League history, Zach, to lead off an inning. Like you're the first batter.
Ricky Henderson?
No, intentional walk.
Think about it. It ain't that hard to guess.
Oh, just not a leadoff hitter.
No, it's just he's at
but
the
not the one hitter.
Any inning. Any inning to lead off an inning.
It ain't that hard.
It's only happened 8 times in history. One guy has 5 of them.
Who is it? It's easy.
Babe Ruth?
Bonds.
Oh. Is it Barry Bonds?
Intentional walks to lead off an inning. Now get this one. Bonds has 3. Every other hitter combined Bonds has 5. Every other hitter in the history has 3. So this is one of the times, Zach. In 1996, one of his intentional walks to lead off an inning was the bottom of the 9th, and they were down 1. The other team, instead of pitching to Bonds and scared he would hit it out, walked him to lead off while they were up only 1 run. They put the tying run on first to lead off the inning on purpose because they didn't want Bonds to swing the bat. And then people today tell me how much valuable a walk is as opposed to swinging the bat. I mean, that's insane. So the other 3, Ryan Howard did it once, and Frank Robinson did it twice.
There's that name again.
It's funny you brought that up, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I want to talk about it. Tony Gwynn batted 300 in every season but one. 300 batting average except for one is his rookie season. He didn't bat. That's impressive. Mm-hmm. Gwynn only struck out 3 times. 3 times in a game, 1 time. His whole career. I mean, he played 20 years, you know. In his entire 20-year career, so he did play 20. His entire 20-year career, he only struck out 434 times. That's like 20 strikeouts per year, dude. That's like nothing.
How many years did you say?
20 years, 434 total strikeouts.
In 20 years.
20 years.
400 strikeouts. You know how many years it shit.
It's like that's not even.
How many did you say again? One more time.
434 strikeouts in 20 years. That's 21 strikeouts a year.
Basically, in the last, Trout has more strikeouts in his last 4 seasons than Tony Gwynn had in his career. Let me repeat that for you. Mike Trout is the greatest baseball player of all time, fans. In the last 4 years, he struck out more than Tony Gwynn did in his entire career.
And it gets even better. In the 94 season, Gwynn, and this is the time frame you was talking about.
Yep.
In the 94 season.
That's the exact season.
he hit 394, 475 PAs. I don't know what that
plate
is.
appearance.
475 plate appearances. He hit 394. He was 397 with 2 strike counts. 397 with
down 0-2.
Okay, so in the last stat, Gwynn batted 302 for his career with 2 strikes on him. 302.
Think about what that number means, though. Those are how many times he gets a hit, not how many times he just makes contact with.
Yes,
and
you're
getting on base,
and you're getting a breaking ball a lot of times.
That's not how many times he walks. That's not how many times he gets on the air. That's not how many times he got a sack.
You're not getting a
fly
fastball down the middle.
No.
So that you talk about best hitters all time, and I always thought he was definitely up there.
All right, Zach, I was thinking about this that you brought that up the other day. If I gave you, I'm gonna give you an outfield, okay? You ready? Of Ricky Henderson in left, Tony Gwynn, and Ichiro. I mean, would you really worried about having someone like Bonds or someone else out in that Griffey or a home run hitter out there if you got
because
those
they're
3?
Small ball. They're moving people around.
Think about Ricky Henderson leading off.
Gonna steal.
Ichiro's second.
He's gonna steal.
And then Tony Gwynn third. And then put Pujols.
He's gonna put it in play.
Put Pujols or any other home run hitter you want at 4th.
Yeah, 1.
that team with those 4 hitters.
You could even have a crappy 4th hitter like Adam Dunn.
Or Votto. Is it Votto?
Votto, that's it.
Put
That's
Votto at
That's
4,
what I was thinking.
and that team never gets beat. You don't even have
Hey,
to have
man,
the other
look,
5
and he's got
guys.
RBIs
The
like
other 5
crazy.
guys don't even have to bat.
Hey, 4 spot, put Ryan Howard there.
There you go. That's fine too.
He was a beast.
Don't get me started.
No, Zach, not according to WAR.
Really?
Do not get me started.
Hey,
Oh my
he
God.
is terrible.
He was.
in
Listen,
WAR. Terrible.
He
in
was
WAR.
feared
I
for 3 years.
had a rant Monday. I did.
He did. He went that. I did not know that Ryan Howard was going to tip off.
And
Hunter
see,
on the,
I'm not a
on the
Phillies
WAR
fan.
stuff. I thought it would. Be,
I'm not either,
I
but
made
he
it
was
known.
feared for
Me
3
and
years.
you are Braves fans, and we know how good he was with that Phillies team against the Braves for at least 6 years straight. He won a World Series in his 3rd year in the league.
But
we went over the first 6 years. They were in first or second of every year. He was there.
MVP. He
won
was
the
in
MVP.
MVP
I know they had
voting
good pitching
twice.
too, but I think they had Cole Hamels.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, his WAR was like
14.
And Mike Trout's was like 79. And I'm like,
I'm looking at it.
how the hell are they that much different?
Last year alone. Now remember this. They're saying in Ryan Howard's career, where he won 6 division titles, the World Series,
And an MVP.
and an MVP, and all that. Ryan Howard only helped his team win 14 games over a regular player. That's what that stat means. And what they're saying is, last year, Mike Trout made the Angels win 8 games. So in one season of not making the playoffs again, he had had more than half as WAR. In the last 2 seasons, Trout has had more WAR than Howard did his whole career, and he won a World Series. 6.
Do you want to know
playoff
what it
success.
is? Do you want to know what it is? It's because people stopped having the mindset that Michael Jordan had. If you win, I'm sorry, then that's great. All you got to do is win. This sport is not
It's all about stats.
It's all
That's
about
what they're
winning.
doing. It's the analytical people who will sit there and tell you that
Yeah, but
Jordan
see-
should kick it to somebody else. The analytical people will say, get on base. If
I
I'm
can't
on
really
third,
speak much though, because I like stats too. But I like what I consider the right stats.
all right, Zach, if you're batting, guys on third, 1 out. If you walk, all that does is put
Runners
the
at the
onus on the
corners.
guy behind you. And then also what that does
Those
puts
double play in.
puts the double play into effect. Teams will walk a guy in that situation to put a guy on first, right?
Yes.
So if teams are willing to intentionally walk you, why would you be actively looking to get the walk when obviously it doesn't help you when a fly ball to right field, whether it gets down or not,
Get the runner in.
gets the runner in? And as a hitter, and every time I've been at the plate, if there's a runner on third, I'm thinking, I'm looking at the defense. Do I go right side, back side? Now, with that said, if hitters could just be like, well, I'm going to get a hit to right down the line, people would do that all the time. You hit the ball, and you can't help where the ball goes. So it's not – my thing about it is that why would you not rather have the guy, like, say, Pujols, who's willing to hit it in a deep grounder up the middle to get the run in, or a fly ball down the right field line? If you pop it up and get the runner, that's better than striking out and walking, to me, both, because the guy doesn't move. And as a batter, I don't feel like I did my job. I passed it on to the next guy when I get the walk. And like I said, if I walk, and then now I got to steal second. And if you're a big guy, how many people don't steal now? Nobody steals. So to me, it's a weird way to look at that and say you don't want Ryan Howard, the WAR there.
Dumb as shit.
And then, like, you know, and Tony Gwynn would be
Situational
considered.
hitting. The stats don't take in situational hitting. And I think there's so much
Yeah.
more to that than there actually is. You know, it's not like stats say you close your eyes, you go up there, and you just try to hit the ball as hard as you can, and that's where it goes. And that's not how baseball is. You're hitting backside, left side, inside, outside, trying to move a runner over, sacrifices and stuff like that. It is.
I would think that Tony Gwynn, if you can't talk to him now because he actually passed away,
Well, yeah.
but to know what was in his mind and how good eye contact he had and what he could do with a bat, it would be similar to what you would say Tiger at his best could do with a golf club.
With a putter, like
you could make it do
or
stuff.
sand
Like,
wedge.
I want to hit this,
wedge.
and this is right. It's different style. Look at even at Phil where he can hit these trick shots. He could probably, Tony Gwynn could probably do that sitting in the back. I know this pitcher. I know what he's
video
gonna
of
throw.
Ichiro throwing balls at the bats at home plate. Oh my God! I'll pull that. Tony Gwynn used a 31-inch bat, and Bonds used a 32. For example, Jeremiah and Josh Johnson, when they were 16, were swinging 34s.
Yeah.
Like, It's two totally different approaches to what they're. I didn't finish that. I'm trying to look at Babe Ruth's bat size. You remember what that was? It was like,
I want to say 30. It's a big one. He had like 34, 35.
36.
Yeah, it was huge.
36.
I can remember it standing beside him how tall it was.
38-ounce bat. So Tony Gwynn's using a 31, 28-ounce, 10-ounce less bat.
And if you think about
10 ounces less of wood is what Tony Gwynn's.
And you think about Barry Bonds, I can always remember how small his bat looked when he was holding it.
And he choked up too. Yeah. He not only used a 32, he choked up. So he was pretty much using a 31-inch bat. Is what Bonds were using.
And that's he was muscling. He was muscling it out.
The smaller the bat, the better you're going to do at contact. Yep. And you're trying to lose those big bats for leverage.
Yep.
Is kind of exactly what you're trying to do. Hunter, this is the most ridiculous thing on the ESPN I was talking about. They ran a story on how good Trout would be in the Korean Baseball League.
Who the hell cares? Who the hell cares? I'm gonna say, who the hell cares?
They ran a whole story and ran the stats on it. What his stats would be if he played in the Korean Baseball League.
So was the guy that they brung over here from
Shohei Ohtani.
No, the one they brought. He wasn't in the Korean League. He was. He came over and played.
How does that guy not get more press?
He come over here for the Yankees and played years ago. They called him Godzilla.
Arabu? Hideki Arabu?
No, it was for him.
Oh, the original Hideki Matsui.
Yeah, he was like, I mean,
dude, Hideki Matsui was so good. He really was.
I'm a Ichiro fan.
I love Ichiro. I mean, Ichiro, when he made that throw from the outfield and hosed that guy. I mean, that was the. Have you seen the Roberto Clemente throw ever from right field and one come off the wall? He didn't even step. He just pivoted and threw it all the way.
That's one thing I like a lot is to watch somebody, especially in right field. I like to watch somebody in right field.
Yeah, that's where the hoses are usually.
I like to watch somebody. I like to watch somebody right field throw to third or home.
I'm gonna pull this thing back. All right, watch this. This is Ichiro. A little drill he was doing. Just throwing balls at bats. That's sick. It might even be fake. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Look at it.
I wouldn't think he was good. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, just he's a stud.
The game.
Whoops. Sorry, hit that button.
Might be a new. That might be my next
Prematurely.
jersey. My next jersey might be Ichiro. I looked at it a couple times.
The Mariners jerseys are pretty.
That's what it is. I looked at it a couple times.
There are some nice.
I'm just not a
jerseys.
Mariners fan. I just like Griffey and I like Ichiro.
Jordan rocking those Black Sox hats too. Him and Bo Jackson. Bo got to wear them for a time. Those things sold like hotcakes. Y'all that was the most. Y'all think Yankees hats are annoying now all over the place? Oh my God, those things were everywhere. And then the Yankees started doing. Well, I guess
those Sox hats,
pink Yankees
Man, look,
hat,
I'll tell you what,
there is.
I think the Braves got the best hat.
Oh God,
but I think the A is the best.
That's
I like the A that's got the chop with it.
Awful.
It's got the tomahawk with it.
Awful hat.
I like all the Braves outfits. I like the Cardinal stuff too.
I don't like the Cardinals hats. I've never liked the.
You don't like the STO?
I've never liked the STO at all.
Really?
To be honest, when they went the birds on the bats, their Sunday hats, those things are delicious with the cardinal on it. Real quick. All right, Hunter, we got any news or notes? Anything else you want to talk about? One thing I do want to do before we get out of here is we've been skipping on the fun a couple weeks. No Mount Rushmores, no starting lineups, none of that. We've been kind of goofing around a minute. So I tell you what, Hunter, since you mentioned it, we'll go to the Mount Rushmore of baseball hats.
Ooh, I like that.
Who's your top 4 team hats? I'm going to pull them up. The team
top 4
MLB
Major League Baseball hats.
This is all time.
No, just this year. We'll go the official team hats.
Official team hats. Technically,
because those pirate hats were bad.
Technically,
anything they use now that's not a throwback is fine. Like if they got two or 3 hats.
One of my favorites. The team really hadn't been that well. They've been decent. I've loved the Diamondbacks. I hate that they changed their color scheme from the black and teal and that they had to just basic red.
You want me to go off for a minute on that one? I mean, you've got purple and teal in your colors. The Charlotte Hornets that nobody else has. You won a World Series. Why do you change your colors winning a World Series? And what color did they change to?
Basic red.
How many teams have red? we're looking at it. Let's say
the Randy Johnson years Diamondback stuff was cool.
Right, but the purple and teal and stuff. So this is all the teams that have red already: Angels, Braves, Cardinals. Cubs got some red in them. Indians, Nationals, Phillies, Reds, Red Sox, Twins. 9 other teams have red, and they decided, you know what? Instead of using purple like the Rockies, the only other 2 teams that have it, let's do wine red.
So
I agree with you.
That's mine. The first one that I'll do is the Diamondbacks. Second, I'll go with, just because I like the cartoon look of it, I like the Orioles hat. I like the Orioles colors in general. I like the little Oriole on the top. I like the Atlanta Braves hats when they wear their. Well, I mean, I like the look of the original Atlanta Braves hat. Don't get me wrong, but I like the ones that they wear where they got the tomahawk in the middle, along with the A. I like those a lot. So that's 3.
Shouldn't there be some like a way I can look up all the team hats?
I can't find it either. I'm looking up.
So dumb. And then.
Just because
I don't know, because baseball hats can get kind of boring because a lot of them are just their initials. Yeah. You know,
I like the STL, so I can't say anything. I like the Atlanta. I like the St. Louis.
I mean, I guess, you know, if I'm gonna go with my 4th, because I wore it for a few years when I played Little League, I'm gonna go with the original Florida Marlins hat because that thing was sick. The Marlin swimming up the F, dude. That thing was tight. I don't know about the Marlins now, but that Florida I'll preface with this: the Florida Marlins, not the Miami Marlins. The Florida Marlins. I like that a lot. So there's my 4: Diamondbacks, Florida Marlins, Orioles, and Atlanta Braves. Those are my 4 favorite. My Mount Rushmore for the hats, baseball hats.
You wouldn't think it would be this hard to find.
I know. Good luck finding it.
Picture of just all the hats. I've got most of them here, but I'm trying to find like the 2nd and 3rd hats just in case for some of these teams, and maybe a couple throwbacks here and there. I'm going to do 2 here, separate lists. I think. Let me make sure. I think I can do something here. I'm going to do that. Yep. All right, Hunter. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite hats. My Mount Rushmore of hats.
Yes.
This isn't all time, but because I would substitute, I would have the Expos in there if I could, and they're not in there.
Or even the old White Sox, old White Sox.
I would also have the Chief Wahoo Indians in there if I could, but that's discontinued.
Well, I mean, I said the Florida Marlins one. That's discontinued.
Yeah, I think we need to go with.
We need an old hat one too.
Yeah, just put one on there.
But I'm doing the current ones. My current ones that are actually hats right now.
Yep.
I'm gonna discount the Cardinals Sunday hats. Those are my favorite hats, no matter what. With the birds, the navy blue tops, red hats, no matter what, those are my favorite hats. Now, with that said, the other teams, if I was putting them, my favorite ones are Blue Jays, Orioles, A's, and White Sox. Those hats catch my eye and attention and just look better, I think, than all of them. And I got different colors across my board on accident, but I got a blue hat, an orange and black, a green and yellow, and then the solid black and white hat. That White Sox hat is just iconic.
Yeah.
The Orioles hat, I just love that Oriole bird. Mm-hmm. I'm Zach. I don't like letters.
Yeah.
As symbols. So I know you're covered in A's over there.
Yeah.
I would rather see the tomahawk than the A. As far as you guys, I know you don't play around with the Native American logos anymore with these teams, but. Same with the football helmets. I don't like letters, numbers, anything on the helmet like this. I like symbols. I guess is the best way.
Yeah, and I think maybe I'm the opposite because I like the old Giants hat where it says Giants, and you hated it where it says Giants across it.
Actually, I like it better than their helmets now because they don't. No, you know why? They don't play in New York.
Yeah,
they play in New Jersey.
And then
you talking about NJ on it.
You're talking about I'm with you with the A's. I like the A's. I like the Braves. I like the blue. In the red, both.
That A's with the yellow hat, with the yellow bill.
I love that.
And green top. I mean, just.
I've always liked any Toronto hat just because it was different. You got the old one up there.
The Blue Jays hats always look good. That's my favorite one. Is the white front.
You got that one. The one that they got now is very similar to that. I like that A's. I mean, that Diamondback.
That's the Diamondback.
That's Hunter's Diamondback.
That's the Diamondback.
That's the different. era. And I like the
I
Indians.
think they use the A still, just instead of it being
they
the
do.
purple.
It's just different color, which is stupid.
It's like gold and red.
I do like the Indians hat from back in the day, and it's up there. I hate the Yankees. I loathe even seeing the Yankees hat.
See, that's the best Diamondbacks.
And there's a Randy Johnson shirt. It's his jersey. It's awesome. I want that. But so I've got A's, Blue Jays, Braves.
Marlins.
Yeah, you got all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got almost every single one of it I've listed.
I got everything but an A's.
Yeah. See, this was the coolest
Hunter's
one.
Marlin.
This was the coolest one. The Florida with the Marlin hat, with the Marlin.
That was the original. That was the
that
96.
was when they were in Florida.
96, I believe.
Not my, that. Well, they were still mine. That's when they were called.
This
the Devil
one
Rays
is a cool ass hat. If I'm putting this as a random
just
thing, a third hat, this is my favorite. You know where I wore this, Hunter? And the reason I bought this, I was coaching coach pitch baseball, and our team was the Rays.
Okay.
And they
It just
ordered.
looked cool.
Well, all the kids got kids hats. We didn't order coaches hats, so I didn't have a hat, and I went and got one of these. And I'd had won this, I think, in one of the things, and I was like, well, this. So I coached in this.
Nice.
Like the old John Oliver. This is me down the coaching the coach pitch with my Rays hat on. So that's where that actually ended up in the collection.
Very nice.
But yeah. So
I think somebody gave me that Reds hat. I'd have never got one of those. This is garbage. F the Reds.
and old
That's some Cardinals hate.
an old hat that I would like would, and you talked about the white and black Sox hat. I like the red and blue and white Sox. Remember the red, blue, and white?
I didn't like those.
You didn't
at
like
all.
those?
I
like
had
those.
a Knights shirt, like a Knights just shirt, and it was retro night. And instead of it saying White Sox and with the red line and the blue line and the coloring, it said Knights across because they're affiliates of the White Sox. And I liked those because they have those as well. It says CLT on them.
I like all Pittsburgh hats with a yellow top or a bill.
I want them to get away from the P though and bring the pirate face back.
That thing was pretty cool.
was
And then I
sick.
like the Brewers glove. If people don't know, the M, it's actually got the letters in the logo. Same thing with the Montreal. Like you have to look for the letters and some of the letters in the logo.
You don't have it. The New Mariners hat's nice. It's like I think it's like an M with like a diamond in it.
Yeah.
Some kind of it looks cool.
All the Cubs is garbage. Go Cardinals. All right. Anything else
Nope.
before we get out of
That'll
here?
be it.
All right. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna get out of here. Hunter's got to go help Tim Johnson, whether he knows it or not. And we'll be back in a. We'll see you guys next Saturday. And then on Saturday, Hunter, we've got to preview. I guess people can't hear that. I'll stop that for the folks at home real quick. Saturday, we've got to preview NASCAR racing this weekend, all coming up. So we got to make sure. See if Jesse would like to talk to us. I know he's racing. Is it Monday or Tuesday? I don't know if he would want to. I don't know if he'd want to talk to us Monday. He might want to rather talk to us Wednesday.
I'll see if I can reach out to him
and see what he thinks and maybe give us some info. Either way, it'll be after the first race back from Darlington, and maybe he have some fun and insights on things that happen down there
if he's available. Well, I don't know. With it coming back, his schedule might be actually a little bit busy now.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time on Shock Jocks. Kevin Hastings, Zac Mayhue, and Hunter Yancey in the house. Thanks for listening. KTC Sports, watching live on Facebook, listening where podcasts are made.